It looks like you guys started without me. Holy cow. Late to my own show. Once again, here we are. Welcome to the Friday Night Live Stream podcast. Why don't we get the chat up in here? Come on over. There we are. Here we get going. Getting going. Lots of you waiting in there. Some of you patiently, some a little less, but hey, why not? Welcome in this evening. I'm looking forward to this show. This is gonna be a good one. We got another week went by. I didn't bother making a video today. I got home after work. It was a little bit on the late side, so I said, okay, well, I've got all this stuff to do, dinner, family, all that stuff. Get ready and then do the show. We'll do the show. We'll do it live. Anyway, if this is your first time here, this is the live stream show of the week. This this is every Friday at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific if you're on the coast like I am. And every other weekday we do videos early morning and in the evening. Depends on where you are in Canada. You get it at a different time. If you're in the East Coast, Eastern Canada, I guess that's prime time for you guys. Prime time, you guys get that show. I try to put it out for at least 6:30 every day, and then try to get one early in the morning before I leave for work every day of the week. Friday without Clyde is a day without sunshine. Wow, okay. We got lots of days without sunshine. I live in the west coast of Canada. This is we get used to it really quick. Yeah, prime time Clyde. Yeah, prime time yeah, for the live streams as well. Holy cow, 6:30 over here, 9:30 Eastern. Welcome everybody who's jumped in the chat already. We got 358 of you guys hanging out. It's good to see you all, but hey, smash that like button. We got 128 likes on the dial right now. It helps out so much. It's that one little thing that's free. It's easy to do. It's just a little button below, and you click it, and it tells the beautiful algorithm, hey, we should recommend this out to some more people out there, and get more people into the live streams, get more people to watch the videos as well, get that community growing. This community keeps growing. We're 127,000 strong now. It's fantastic. I love seeing it. I love seeing all of this growth. It's fantastic. Holy cow, it just makes me want to keep making more. You guys are encouraging me, very much encouraging every single day. It's amazing. Thank you all so much. What are we getting into tonight in the stream? Yeah, teasing obviously with the thumbnails. They're scared. They're scared. They're running scared. Klaus and his little boy Justin. We got here Space Dave with the Space Dave 2000 with the $2 super chat. Merry Christmas. Space Dave. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. It's never stop, Clyde. Well, I've got too much to talk about here. This is, the thing about this channel that that really keeps me going. It looks like we're pushed over too much to one side here. Why don't we get that over there? What really keeps me going with this channel is all the engagement, and not only this, it's really my way to vent my frustrations every single day. I've been pretty frustrated with the way things have been going here in Canada. I think I get that kind of sentiment that a lot of you guys feel the same way, and I get to blow off some steam every single day, and I don't have to bother my wife all the time with this, but we end up talking about it all anyway, or going nuts at work, and I get to let this off my chest and get it out to all you guys. Talk about the stuff that I see. Sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's funnily frustrating. But it's one of those things, and I really enjoy doing it, and I thank you guys all so very much for making this possible. It's amazing. Healthy venting, Clyde. Yeah, that's right. It's this is a release, and you know what? It's really fun to come on a Friday night and be with you guys live in the live chat, because then I get some immediate feedback. I know I get lots of feedback in the comments, and I read through the comments as much as I can, but wow, it gets overwhelming. When it's real time, this is really fun, and I really appreciate all the people that come in every week to do this. It's great. Penny D with a $5 super chat. It's true, Clyde. You make my day too. Thanks for everything, making me laugh and smile. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, some people actually don't appreciate it. Some people don't like it that I snicker at some of these things. They think I'm not taking it seriously. And I get why some people might think that. Laughter is kind of my coping mechanism to deal with a lot of the stresses of life. I deal with it at work quite a bit. I mean, it's a stressful job being a mechanic, fixing people's automobiles that they rely on every single day. And, you know, if things don't always go pleasant, it's not always perfect. So it's always good to have a sense of humor about things. And that's the thing. WEF, liberals' Achilles heel. And there's an Achilles heel to the WEF as well. We're going to get into that. Turns out they have something that's really not working out for them. Really, really not working out for them. Exile Justin and his minions. We would love to see that happen. No, I don't think they need an exile. I think they need to face judgment, like real judgment, not in a kangaroo court at all. Yeah, libertarians, you got it, Jane. Not a kangaroo court at all. No, a real court with real judges. None of this banana republic stuff. People really want to see justice for some of the things that has happened in Canada. A lot of people's lives have been ruined, and there's been a massive robbery. There's been a massive robbery going on. It's been going on for decades, but especially in the past 8 years, and well, really launching off during the pandemic. This great reset, they want to call it. We have an opportunity for a great reset. And yeah, well, what they've done is they've robbed us. They've robbed us all blind. Everybody's savings, everybody's pensions, everybody's everything. The big robbery, the great robbery, it should be called, not the great reset. It is a great robbery where they took our savings and they inflated it out of having any value, is what they've done by spending money that we don't have on money that was just printed out of thin air. This is really where we're at. Man pawns rock, lol. We might get into that because that's a pretty funny story. It's funny, but frustrating as well. I mean, all of this comes down. I was just about to state the great robbery. Yeah, we should call it that. I mean, honestly, the great reset is the great robbery. They've burgled our wealth, a wealth of a nation. They've burgled it away. And they used people with this whole mentality of like the get rich quick scheme thing. And I know it all started in the 1990s, that get rich quick scheme of real estate started in the US. But after 2008, it actually started happening here. But the Trudeau administration, the Trudeau cabinet really exacerbated this whole thing where people felt, oh, well, I could just earn a living just buying and flipping houses. Nothing could ever go wrong with that. Never. $5.3 billion going to the Philippines. WTF, indeed. WTF, indeed. Why are we sending money we don't have to people who, what are they going to do with it? Do you think this is the crazy thing? And it used to always be, they used to always say this about, international aid. International aid is just a way for poor people in rich countries to have to give money to rich people in poor countries. Because that's really all that is. So they're just taking our money. Now it's based on climate. It's the climate. We're saving the planet, You see? We're saving the planet. We've been doing that wrong for a long time. And here's one of the things too, is speaking of the Philippines, because we send our recyclables there. Because we can't recycle our stuff ourselves. Well, largely is because we don't have the capacity to do it. And we don't have the will to actually spend money on the infrastructure to make that possible, because at the end of the day, it would be so much closer to home, and then we would see how much of a farce recycling really is. And this is really sad because there used to be 3 R's. to the recycling thing. Do you remember the triangle with the the recycle mark in it? You remember that? It used to be the 3 R's. We've forgotten about the first 2 R's, and we just do the third. And the third we do terribly. It was always the one that never really did much of anything at all anyway. The things that do stuff for garbage is reduce and reuse. If you can reduce your garbage, that's great. If you can reuse things, that's fantastic. And then the last part is recycle. For all the things that you can't reduce and reuse, we can recycle some things. But we can't recycle. What you throw in the blue bin, what you're throwing in your blue bin, I guarantee you would be shocked to find out that only a fraction of that stuff is even remotely recyclable. Even remotely. You know what gets me is they don't even accept glass bottles. They won't accept glass bottles. They won't accept all kinds of things. It's amazing to me. No, glass bottles, they tell you, no, just throw those in the garbage bin. What? Those are the things that can be recycled. The reason why we always had, beer bottles and milk bottles and all this stuff is so that we didn't have all the plastics. But need I say more? We're not really saving money. But the reason why the Philippines comes to mind is because we send a lot of our stuff to the Philippines, where it promptly gets deemed not recyclable and then gets sent to somewhere else to be incinerated. Yeah. Diesel ships send it over the Pacific Ocean. Like not there, all the way down. It's far away. Turns out the Philippines is really far away. Yeah, that's right. Jess44 with the $24.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you. That's great. But yes, we should, this is, I don't drink out of a drink box water bottle sort of thing. I got my good old stainless steel. And I got a big old hole in my lip. What am I doing? What am I doing here? But yeah, glass bottles. Glass bottles are the most energy intensive when it comes to recycling. I wonder if that's why they aren't doing it here. They're the more energy intensive. I don't know that to be a fact. I know that there's a lot of work. You gotta wash them, all that stuff. I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day, they used to have these little nubs on the bottom of beer bottles. And after, I think they added the nubs, or is it they removed the nubs after every wash? But they would do a wash cycle and then they could reuse it. But after so many uses, they had to get rid of them, and then that was it. But yeah, I mean, if you're to smash bottles down and then melt them down and then make bottles again, that's pretty energy intensive. Unfortunately, you can't do that with plastic bottles. You can't just melt them down and make it's actually really cheap to just make new ones. We've got a lot of oil. Turns out there's a lot of oil out there that we use, and so we just make more. What they end up doing with those plastic bottles is they end up mulching them and then using the mulch for other things. And then people talk about microplastics while they're mulching these things. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Hi, Clyde. Just coming in. Wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, Stanley. Really appreciate that. Lots of highs in the thing. Why the defeatist attitude? I don't have a defeatist attitude. No. I think there are really good ways of doing garbage management, waste management, with modern technology and the use of catalysts that we didn't have years ago. And new infrastructure that we see in other parts of the world. We could, realistically, instead of shipping all our garbage over the Philippines, sorry, Filipinos out there that might be watching the show, don't want to put you out of a job, but there's plenty of other stuff to do other than Canadian waste management. No, we could totally incinerate a lot of these things and do it cleanly, which is amazing. There are some facilities in Canada that do this, but they have to do it on the sly because there's such a bad reputation for incineration. They think it's bad. They think it's bad. You're actually producing energy with the garbage. We could be producing energy and lighting our homes and charging our Teslas on this stuff. This is the reality. This is the reality. Anyway, we've got a great show lined up tonight. We're gonna be talking about some of this stuff. Yeah, Japan does do it right. That's how they do it. You separate your garbage based on not what you think's recyclable and what isn't. They separate their garbage. It's moeru gomi and moenai. So either it burns or it doesn't burn. That's how they separate it. So they know that goes in the incinerator. This one we do something else with. No knobs for you. What? 10% for the big guy. Canadian Waste Management eating less. Yeah, that's a possibility. Guess what? The government's doing that one for us. They're all giving us a diet by making everything more expensive. Merry Christmas, G-Meister. Come on. You know I'll read typos like that. I always, the dyslexia, it kills me. G-Meister, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Merry Christmas to all. The like button is still free, at least for now. So smash it. Smash that thing. Get on it. Smash it. So tonight, I don't know if you saw my video earlier this morning, I made an announcement that I was going to have news updates for real. John, he was going to be joining the show, but last minute was unable to make it, unfortunately. So he sent me a message. Sorry, let's reschedule. We'll get that. If you don't know the channel, check it out. He's on Instagram, also on YouTube. Probably all your favorite social medias out there. But he won't be able to make it tonight. But that being said, I've always got friends that love to help me out in the last minute. Northern Perspective is going to be on the show tonight. We're going to be chatting a little bit about what might be a spring election in Canada. So that we have that to look forward to. So this is a thing. I got to get Marty. I know. I got to get Marty. Hopefully we'll get Marty for next week, assuming he has time. So we'll try. We'll definitely try for that. One more super chat in there. Hold on a second. Infectious Prototype with a $2 super chat. Check out the paper I linked in the chat. There's a link? I don't know if links come through, my man. Unfortunately. So it might show up on your end, but I think YouTube censors links. I think that's just the thing, unless you're a mod or somebody. I'll have to get that. Maybe if you're in Discord, or if you could tweet it at me, something like that. Yeah, YouTube's pretty strict about that stuff because, well, you know what happens. People get linked off of the website, and then YouTube's not very happy with that. If Clyde's got friends in chatty places, you're right. You're right about that. Absolutely. Yeah, see, even Cracker's not seeing the link, and Cracker's my mod. Only Clyde and mods can post links. That's correct. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, if you send it in Discord or something like that, maybe you can pop it up, and then my mods can let me be aware of that. Let's get into some of the stuff I wanted to talk about tonight. Oh, I gotta share this one because this one cracks me up. This was something that I put out. I just happened to catch it on a screen grab from one of their ads. This was from a liberal. This is actually from a liberal ad on Twitter. This screen grab, oh, just so great, so great. Just me, Nicole. Remember, for a month. Says Dr. Campbell interviewed Canadian COVID inquiry leader today. I didn't see the whole video, but I've got a clip I wanted to show everybody. So yeah, thank you so much for the chat for that and being a member of the channel. But so I put this one up there, and oh, this one cracked me up so bad because, you know, you put up things. Yeah, I put up a lot of memes. If you ever use the mobile device, I don't know if they do it on if they do it with the on your desktop, if you get to see the communities tab, but on mobile you'll see this in your timeline. Penny D with a $5 super chat. Clyde, just wanted to ask if you if you gather around the piano and sing the Japanese song. It's so beautiful. I don't know the Japanese song. We don't. We gather around the piano and we do other things. We sing other songs and stuff like that. But that's it. We need the Argentinian president in Canada. Yes, absolutely. But Penny D, thank you so much for the super chat. Anyway, if you pay attention to the communities tab, you get a lot of memes. I try to post at least a meme a day, every weekday. Posting these ones out there. You just gotta go on a limb and say that the predictions were wrong. Look at that rising sea level, at the Statue of Liberty. But anyway, I posted this one, and this one got like the most amount of comments I'd ever seen. I just said caption this, and whoa boy, holy. Daifaichu with a $5 super chat. She was putting out so much bullshit, even she couldn't take it anymore. There you go. Yeah, caption this in the chat. That's right. Oh, that's way too funny. Yeah, Mr. Speaker. Oh, it's just the way she talks. Unfortunately, I'm going to be sharing some of how she talks tonight on the show. It's the Canadian Witch. But holy cow. 1887 people put in comments on this one because it is just like, what? There's no way I could read through all of this. It's so funny, but I love it. I've been going through it over the past few days, just looking at all the gems. Face not even a mother can love. Oh man. My meth has expired. Sounds like something to what? Oh, too funny. That bug burger was delicious. Try a bite. Oh, it's way too funny. Clyde, your own post hit the bullseye. Yes, my own post. What did I write? I said this. That face men make when they try out the new free product line in the federal building toilets. Yeah, that's right. In the new federal building, this is the new labor law. I even got it up. I've got it somewhere here. Yeah, there we go. Canada's labor code to ensure access to menstrual products at work starts December 15th. News release. Menstrual products like pads and tampons are as necessary as toilet paper and soap, but they are not treated that way in most workspaces. That's why in 2021, the Government of Canada committed to making changes to the Canada Labor Code to ensure access to menstrual products in all federally regulated workplaces. Why? This is ridiculous. Chippy's Outdoor. Remember for 18 months. I can't believe it's been 18 months. That's amazing. Looks like a rat lost in the sewer pipes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Chippy's Outdoor. I know. I saw it last week in the chat. Some people didn't like when I had the chat up on the screen when I was sharing something. And then other people, they get mad when I take the chat down. So I've got the chat up. If I'm doing a video, I think I'll take the chat down for the purpose of video playing, and then I'll put it back. I'm gonna wing it. I'm just gonna wing it and see how this actually goes. Maybe if I got a video to play, I'll post it. I'll do it in a different way. Maybe I'll get my other camera going here. If my other camera's even working. Testing. No, it's not even on. It's not working. I'm gonna have to get that thing going. In the meantime, let's get back into this labor code issue. Today, Minister of Labor Shameless O'Regan Jr. announced that as of December 15th, 2023, federally regulated employers will be required to make menstrual products available to workers at no cost while they're in the workplace. This means putting pads and tampons in washrooms or other spaces controlled by the employer so that any worker who needs them while on the job has access. What else? What else are we gonna make sure that people have? Q-tips? Are we gonna make sure that people have like little nail clippers because nails get long? Like, this is personal hygiene. You can't take care of your own personal hygiene. Like, especially what is it? The average government worker makes like 10 grand more than the average worker that pays taxes. And don't tell me you're a government worker and you pay taxes. That's a facade. That's a facade. You don't pay taxes from money that you got from taxes. You didn't pay taxes. They're lying to you. They gave you a number on the sheet and then said that was deducted. I mean, it just goes right back to where it came from. I mean, I don't even know how to break that news to people. Chippy's Outdoors with a $20 super chat. I guess I need a government job because because what do you, typos kill me. Typos kill me. Because something is an a-hole. Thank you so much, Chippy's Outdoors, for the $20 super chat that I couldn't read because I'm guessing I am as, I don't know. I have a hard time. Soon all government have to shave body hair. What is this? What is it with personal hygiene that, for some reason, this is my thought. Government thinks so little of us. And, you know, some people, you know, there's good reason to think little of them. But at the same time, the government thinks that you can't take care of yourself. You're not able to take care of yourself. And largely, I guess government workers can't. I mean, are they proven the means? Are they actually? Come on, Bob McBob. But somehow government workers, they believe can't take care of themselves. They can't take care of their own personal hygiene. Is that serious? Chippy's Outdoors, a $2 super chat, killing me, buddy. ID, definitely. Identify. Okay. I messed that up. Because it's I and then lowercase d. Because I identify as an a-hole. Oh, I'm so sorry. I ruined your joke. Me and my dyslexic ways have ruined your joke. Not all government workers are the same, Clyde. You never know who's watching you. That's funny. No, I'm not saying government workers are all the same. I'm saying the government thinks government workers are all the same. That's what I'm saying. And they think that all government workers are inept. I think a lot of them are. I mean, for reasons not that they don't know personal hygiene, but just because, I mean, look at government work. Thomas Soulier, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. My favorite independent media guy. Cheers, Clyde. Cheers to you, Thomas. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Amazing. But yeah, of course. Who owns the Bank of Canada? The Canadian populace, the Canadian government does. That's who. It's not a private. It's not like the Federal Reserve. It's a government corporation. That's how it works. Crown Corp. Soulier is shoes, I think. Is that right? Oh, it wouldn't be off. The shoemaker is a very common English name. Wrong. It is. It's not owned by private entities. It's not the Federal Reserve. Holy crap! I fell over. Clyde gets taxation. Yes. Yeah. If you get paid by the taxpayer, you're not paying taxes. That's a facade. I always thought that it's dumb that they even do that thing, because all it does is it makes it more expensive. You need more people for the government workers. They should just seriously just say, if you work for government, you make this much, or like you're making this much, no deductions. Like there's no tax. but it's obviously a third of what you would do in the market. And I honestly think this should be a bill that should be passed. If you work for the government, in order to set the wages, it should be whatever you could be making in the private sector minus 10%, like something along those lines. You should always make less than the private sector, period. Because it just makes things unsustainable. If people are making more money working for the government than the people paying the taxes to pay the people working for the, you get what I'm saying? But yeah, 10% for the big guy. Welcome to censorious YouTube. Oh no. Did YouTube not show your comment? I leave my chat wide open, so just so everybody knows, I don't censor YouTube. If you say something rude in the chat, my my mods will time you out. But that's not what I do. Trish Prue with the $5 super chat. I'm a female. Hear me roar. Unless you're XX, go home. Yeah. Well, holy cow. This is why this story was quite funny. Because, well, I know I'm doing the stupid voice to read it, but free menstrual products will be available at federal workplaces later this year. This was my condition is what are you advertising at me, Global News? Anyway, this was posted May 10th. So it's an old article, but it was pointing out that the federal government made the announcement on Wednesday back then, stating that on December 15th it would be mandated that everybody gets their menstrual products, and including in the men's washroom, because apparently menstruation is a thing now. Demogorgon Ramsey with a $20 super chat. They should also put rubber in federal bathrooms. What? They should always also put rubber in federal bathrooms to have airfare on the House of Commons floor, and so to have a fair on House of Commons floor and Senate, U.S. Senate. What? Okay, we're putting rubbers in. Do they not have rubbers in the? I know they do at the bars. That's a thing for bars. But yeah, maybe they should put that in there. What are some like men only products that you think of? Chat, help me out. A man's only product needs to be available in women's bathrooms. No, I shouldn't say this, because they'll actually do that, and it would cost us taxpayers for them to implement it, and that's just the thing. That's really what they will do. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so this stuff was mandated, and even Brian Lilly, he got upset about this. I mean, this guy, he never gets upset, even when when the liberals do a thing, but somehow he got really upset about this one.
Term women, menstruating employees, they don't even use the term women. Now, how many people who menstruate no longer identify as women? It's got to be a minuscule amount. But this is my ongoing issue with this.
That's manstration.
We are eliminating the word women. We are eliminating the language that identifies women as being distinct from men from our language.
Steve's Hyde with a $5 super chat. My mom works for the government. She told me her and her coworkers were all laughing at about it, at least privately. This is why it's ridiculous. Even they're laughing about it. Why do we do this stuff? You know, it's a big old waste of money, right? It's a giant waste of money, but yet we still do this.
All because of an attempt to be politically correct when it comes to transgender issues. You can be respectful of people who are transgendered. You can be respectful.
Bacon dispenser, I like that. Urinals in the women's only spaces, Clyde. LOL. That's it. That's what it should be. or take Bonnie Henry's advice and put glory holes in there. Whoa, I'm not gonna define that out loud.
Of what they are going through. You can not diminish them in any way, shape, or form without diminishing women. It doesn't have to do that. But what we are doing is diminishing women, menstruating employees, women or people who are pregnant, people who menstruate. These are terms that are now being used for words that we just used to say women. This is absolutely bonkers. But this is the focus of the Trudeau government. We've got food affordability crisis. We've got a housing affordability crisis. We've got immigration outpacing the ability to build new housing, driving up housing prices even higher. We've got a military that doesn't have what they need, but we've got...
I just got to thank Brian Lilly for actually pointing that one out. Nobody else wants to point out the fact that immigration is crazy. Like bonkers. Totally bonkers. Why? Why do we have the immigration policy that we have right now? Why is that? Seriously? This is our immigration policy right now.
Our worker to retiree ratio has dropped from 7 to 1 since I was born 50 years ago to nearly 3 to 1 now. If we don't welcome more newcomers, that number will approach 2 to 1 in decades ahead, and that'll put our infrastructure and key programs like our healthcare and our education at risk.
All right, so we got a lot of people we got to bring into the country. Just how many people do we need to bring into the country, my man? You're the Minister of Immigration. How many people are we talking?
I'm pleased to share that Canada intends to maintain its target of welcoming 485,000 new permanent residents in 2024.
What? Oh, but then
in 20.
But then we're gonna take a break after a while, right?
25.
What?
Starting in 2026, the number of newcomers we aim to welcome will stabilize at 500,000.
Stabilize. So we're gonna have 500,000 new people in a country of 40 million every year. Stable. You gotta be kidding me. You've gotta absolutely be kidding me. Chat, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? 500,000 people. What happened to my chat? What happened to my chat? Chat, where'd you go? Come on back. What do you think? 100 million. Yeah, that's right. 100 million is actually what they're aiming for. 100 million people. Do you know how many people live in the United States? Like 350 million? And they have a whole lot more inhabitable land. That's for sure. I mean, we have a lot of land. We got a huge ton of land. But we also have a government that says, well, we're not going to open up any new land. That's crown land. We can't open that up. I mean, there's not much left in Ontario to open up. Just say that. But here in British Columbia, they were just signing things. Guy-Beau, good old Guy-Beau coming over here, making deals with David Eby, saying, no, we're shutting it down. No more. Done. No more crown land for any stuff. We're not allowing it. We're gonna block off all this like very good land that could be used for building homes on. Nope, can't have it. Not happening. David Eby is one of them. He is one of them. He is one of them. He's one of them. I can't get over that. Why does my chat keep doing that? Come on, chat. And then it drops out as I pull it back. Here we go. That's moving on. Hey, we've got some good numbers here coming from this petition that went out earlier. Trish Prue with another $10 super chat. Super chat wouldn't let me use the word woman. Go figure. Shut up. Really? It's the WO man and WO man now. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah, a Ponzi scheme needs a bottom rung. Yeah, I put that out on Twitter and on the YouTube thing. Where is that? Actually, I put that out there. What would actually happen if immigrants coming to Canada were told that they weren't... What would happen if immigrants coming to Canada were told that they were actually the bottom of the socialist pyramid scheme? Would they come? What if somebody broke the news to them, right? Truther with the $5 super chat. Ultimately, this is an attack on women. The rights that women fought for is being systemically destroyed with all this gender confusion garbage. Absolutely. I agree with you. After talking with Megan Murphy, she really opened up my eyes to that one. And it was interesting having a chat with her because I always felt myself at odds with feminists, but I didn't realize that there were feminists that actually cared about women and women's issues, like what women really want, not forcing women to do things that they don't want, like other groups of feminists do, because there are definitely those groups for sure. Robert McFallon with a $20 super chat. We need to look into Hungary for kids, no income tax. Canadians can't afford to knock boots. That's an interesting concept. So no income tax for people who are of that age and have imagine that you're exempt from the income until you make at minimum, say, 60 grand. You're exempt from the or let's say 80,000 in a house, right? Your first 80,000, if you are married and are making kids, you're exempt from the income tax. Wow, that'd be something. Make more babies, people. Make more babies. It's funny because if only we knew it was that easy. But hey, let's get back to this. Very proud of this community. Very proud of everybody here in Canada. We are officially now we have the most signed petition. And this is an official petition. I know you only need like 500 signatures in order to get mentioned in the House of Parliament. But that's not going to be, that's not special, because all they're going to do is vote it down. What you want is to have a record-breaking petition that says, we're done with this government. It's a minority government that shouldn't even be able to have the power to stay together and stay employed. They should be on their outs. And now it's very popular for people to hold this opinion. But congratulations, everybody. It's not over, though. It's not over. I think it's until the December 24th, I think is the date you have. Yeah, until December 24th at 3:09 Eastern time. If you haven't signed it, get over there and sign it. If your friends haven't signed it, get them over there and get them to sign it. But this is the thing. 9 more days. Let's get it to 400,000. Imagine it hit 500,000. Because actually, I was reading a write-up about House of Parliament, and they said, on average, 500,000 Canadians sign parliamentary petitions every year. Imagine we got it to 500 grand. That'd be hilarious. Penny D with another $5 super chat. I believe their intent is to break us down in every manner. Our country, our families, neighbors, and friends. We can't let them do it. No, we can't. And this is where things will be changing moving forward. We're gonna see some changes coming up because, as it turns out, all this poverty actually gets people talking to each other, and it actually brings people together and start talking about how much they don't like what the government's doing, and that helps. That helps. Down in the United States, they're not faring so well either. And they're wasting money. Look at this. Defund it. This is Tom Fitton on Twitter saying Biden's $1 billion plan to build 500,000 EV chargers has yet to build a single charger. This is where we're at. This is the most wasteful prime minister, most wasteful president, both dummies, both complete dummies. One was born that way. One was just kind of senility set in. But, he was top of his class. He lied to everybody, told him that. But that's besides the point. But this IT guy on Twitter, he put this out there. I'll get this out of the way. So far, actually, they built one. There is one. There's one electric vehicle charging that so far from Biden's $7.5 billion pledge to rapidly expand charging infrastructure. Apparently, they've only made one. So far, just one electric vehicle charger has been built under a $7.5 billion program introduced by President Joe Biden in 2021 infrastructure's bill. At this rate, we'll invent warp drive and transporters before we fully convert to EVs. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. So if you think it's just Canada that's suffering, no. The world has a elitist. I want to say a word, but I can't say it on YouTube. I had to catch myself too. We have an elitist problem in in the West, and this is what's happening. But I wanted to share this because things are getting better. Things are righting themselves, and it starts with this. Odessa put this out on Twitter. Looks like the gangster is noticing some annoying pushback, and I really wanted to share this because this is really heartwarming, actually.
You have this anti-system movement. What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
The system he means is his system. His system. The system of world dominance and world governance. His system. Yes, that's what he's talking about.
So fixing the present system is not enough. Now there is, of course.
So fixing the current system isn't enough. He wants a new system. They want a new system. Kind of funny, the little wavy marks behind his head. Juxtaposition. I love juxtaposition and how comical it can be sometimes. But yeah. So he does this whole great reset, the great robbery, right? The great robbery. Yeah, they're coming to steal our stuff, and they want to be the rulers, and they want everyone else to be serfs that don't own anything. Well, it turns out there's a group of people around the world that don't like this.
A anti-system, which is called libertarianism.
Tripping over libertarianism, formerly known as classical liberalism, just liberalism, liberty. People who want liberty. This is the whole idea. So yeah, they in the West they bastardized the word liberal, unfortunately, because it's only people who want to steal all your stuff and rob you blind that call themselves liberals anymore. So they changed the name to libertarian. Steve's Hyde with a $5 super chat. It's afraid. It's afraid. Look at it. It's afraid. Thank you for the super chat. Jay Blair with another $5 super chat. What is this? Adnan Salki or Sackley. 8217 Prime Directive, February 14th, 2023, Washington, D.C. letter is the legal owner of record of the Bank of Canada, BIS, I guess that's the French version or something, as of Black Monday, 1987, with Madame Chiang. Seriously? Okay, I'll have to look that up. I'm gonna put that on my back burner of things to look into. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, I got stuff coming for that. But in the meantime, I'm gonna keep going with this one. So with Klaus is afraid. He's very afraid of this libertarianism. Libertarianism. You're gonna run the world? You can't say a word? Come on, give us a break.
Libertarianism, which means
try that
to tear
again.
down.
Try it again.
Libertarianism.
No, try it one more time.
Libertarianism.
One more time.
Libertarianism.
Libertarianism. If you want to rule us, you gotta be able to say the words. Come on, give me a break. Libertarianism is obviously the thing. Is the thing that he's talking about. But yes, there's a push towards liberty,
which means to tear down everything.
Tear down everything you're building, yeah.
Which creates some kind of influence of government into private lives.
Yes, absolutely. I would like to tear down anything that creates a kind of influence of government into private lives. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's a popular idea. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, we're going to do it. That's what I'm saying. And it's winning. And it's winning. This is a popular idea. It's catching on. The young people love it because they don't like this idea of never owning anything, living in your cube, living in your pod, eating your bugs, being told this is what you're going to do with your life. You can't have any choices. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. That's right. People don't like it. People are rebelling against it. And more people are waking up to it and saying, yeah, no, I didn't elect this guy. What? No, I'm not into that. It's not going that way for me. I'm not making that happen. I'm not letting it happen at all. We're going to take our libertarianism. Take our libertarianism. We're going to take it. Like I said, AKA classical liberalism. The idea of the founding fathers. Now, it's an interesting concept, though. If you look back in history, there was times where we lived in serfdom for millennia. We had slavery and serfdom and all of this stuff. And how great did it even get for the elites? How great did it even get for them? I mean, imagine being a king of England or the Lord of Manors or whatever back in the day when they didn't even have refrigeration, when they didn't have half of the stuff that would even make your life bearable to get around. But, now they want to go back to serfdom. They want to have this. But, the big fear is libertarianism. Unfortunately, this is what's coming. It's definitely coming. And I mean, I love this. This pretty much sums up Klaus Schwab's economic theory right here. Yeah. This is the iRobot store where they sell, the little sweeper robots. Yeah, or the person sweeping up, or the person sweeping the floor in there. That's right. That's absolutely right. Now this makes me want to bring this one up. I know a lot of you have seen this, but maybe you didn't catch all the context here. This is just the one thing that I really like about this one.
This notion to integrate young leaders is part of the World Economic Forum since many years. When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin, and
so how's that going? Angela Merkel or Angela Merkel, the Merkel angles. How's Germany doing right now? Not so hot. People don't like that. Oh, Vladimir Putin. He was your buddy, hey? Is he still your buddy? That'd be something. That'd be an interesting one to figure out. Is he still your buddy?
So on. They all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on.
What? The President of Argentina? How's that working out for you? Oh, that part really cracks me up because luckily for Argentina, they caught on to this garbage and they went with the libertarian. And this is why this video is so great to me. Kathy Sharp with a $20 super chat. If you click on the signatures signed in the petition, it will break down the percentages of the signatures per province and territory. Guess who performed the worst? Who did perform the worst? I know Ontario was like the highest. I thought it was. Whoops. Ontario looks none of it. I guess they were having none of it. Oh, sorry. It's not per capita though. It's not per capita. Yukon was really low. None of it was really low. Nova Scotia is pretty good. Northwest Territories really low. British Columbia did good. Manitoba low. Prince Edward Island. Even Quebec did pretty good. I don't know. I'm guessing none of it. Kathy Sharp, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. But yeah, I'm proud of everybody for getting out there and getting the petitions in. But let's get back to this video, because he goes more on about, you guessed it, Argentina, and he doesn't even remember the guy who's got in his own back pocket.
That we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I mean, with the president, who is a young global leader, but...
Question and commentaire, questions and comments.
And then it goes on to our little, the clip of our parliament. But yeah, they voted in, I think it's pronounced Javier Milei. He's very much a libertarian. He does not like this idea. I saw something in the chat, somebody saying apparently they're taking a steep dive in their economy. No, their economy has been in the shambles for ages. Any semblance of their economy functioning was just because the government was buying stuff with money borrowed. They didn't really have anything to give. I mean, it was pretty awful. And now there is a lot of capital, looks like, might be flowing into Argentina moving forward. And this is what's promising. This is what's promising for so many people in these things. Now, Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, has decided we have to get used to a total erosion of privacy. Listen to what he has to say here. This is ridiculous.
Dans ce nouveau monde, on doit accepter une transparence. Et
So when he's talking about transparency, he's not talking about government transparency. Oh, if you thought that was what he's talking about, you'd be sorely mistaken. He's talking about transparency into your life. Transparency for the government to get involved in every little aspect of your life. Seriously.
Je dirais même une transparence totale. Tout va être transparent. Et il faut s'habituer, il faut se comporter ainsi. Ça devient, comment dirais-je, intégré dans votre personnalité, mais si on n'a rien à cacher, il ne faut pas avoir peur.
But they got lots to hide. There's nothing wrong. If you got nothing to hide, you wouldn't have a problem with this. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing. Yeah, but they got lots to hide. Mr. Klaus Schwab, you got nothing to hide, buddy? Let's get some transparency into your life. Always ask these people. They want you to do something. Okay. You first. Go for it. Let's catch that. Let's see you do it first. Because we're not doing it first. No way, Jose. No way at all. This is just unreal. Now, I promised I'd get into this. This is one of the clips. Now, I haven't watched the whole thing, but this was Dr. John Campbell. He interviewed Ches Crosby, the NCI administrator for the National Citizens Inquiry. I personally haven't watched the whole interview, but I did catch this on Twitter. As soon as I get the chance, I'm gonna watch the whole thing in its entirety. But I wanted to share this on the stream tonight, and I'll just let this play.
The whole exercise was designed to be a chance for Canadians to unburden themselves about their experiences of how the COVID crisis was managed. And yet that whole dimension of why it was done was not present because the people responsible refused to account for themselves.
So the opportunity that the Canadian people facilitated to have mass catharsis, closure perhaps to some extent, was just...
It was unreciprocated,
ignored,
yes.
poo-pooed.
And you can't have closure and you can't have reconciliation when those who perpetrated what the citizens of the country believed to be an unwarranted invasion of their economic, social, political, and legal rights and freedoms, refuse to explain why they did it, or in any respect account for it. And this is why I think that there will eventually be criminal proceedings, because they are necessary given the enormity of what's occurred.
Yeah, incredible, incredible. I don't know if there actually will be criminal proceedings, if that's something that's actually going to take place. But like what was said there, barring that ever actually happening, will there be any reconciliation? Will there be any sort of getting over what occurred? I'm guessing most people don't want it. They don't want that. People who are the perpetrators of this want to just be able to walk away from it and pretend like it never happened in the first place. Like they didn't do what they didn't do all those nasty things to so many people, treat people so terribly. But yeah. Holy cow, that's a big thing. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about today, bring this one up because this is something the Conservative Party put out there in regards to money being wasted in Canada. Here's Pierre Poilievre's video that he put on his YouTube channel regarding the Beijing-controlled bank. This is the infrastructure bank that we put billions of dollars into. Another thing of just wasted money.
I am alleging undue Chinese Communist Party influence in the everyday operation of the bank.
Oops. Gotta go to this scene. There we go.
Being able
Now you can see
to
it.
join in this excellent initiative of the AIIB that China is leading on, that is going to create opportunities not just for citizens in China, but for citizens across Asia to get access to good infrastructure.
The Asian Infrastructure Bank is actually designed to support clean and green infrastructure investments throughout Asia.
Good afternoon. Today I learned of the resignation from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank by a Canadian citizen who voiced serious concerns regarding the bank. The Government of Canada will immediately halt all government-led activity at the bank.
Now, when I first resigned last May, citing my concerns about the CCP's pronounced, profound, and pervasive influence in the everyday operating business of the bank and its toxic impact on the culture. Inside of the bank, CCP members wield power in many of the most important positions from the top down. Mr. Jin, the president of the bank, himself a staunch CCP member and former Red Guard, often articulates Chinese government policy as if it were his own. I felt that our membership in this organization was not giving this country a single thing of tangible value.
Not a single thing. Money wasted once again. Wasted, absolutely. And what are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it? Well, I'm gonna bring this question up with my guests tonight in my impromptu. Thank you so much for jumping in, guests, tonight. As I had to do this one last minute on the fly. Anyway, everybody, welcome. Northern Perspective. Thank you guys, Cypher and Fox, for joining me last minute in this whole endeavor, and I'm doing this without sharing their voices to them. Hey, welcome guys. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. No problem at all. I'm just adjusting my audio here because I want it going somewhere where it shouldn't be. Over there.
Impromptu things call for impromptu actions. Absolutely. Wow. Okay. Thank you for joining me at such short notice. I had a guest cancel on me tonight, and I've been wanting to have you guys back on anyway. And I just saw you're online. Went, hey, what are you doing tonight? Can you make it? Can you make it on the show?
Sorry, Clyde, I was just moving audio stuff.
Oh no,
around.
it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, so yeah, no problem. It's always fun to come on the show and talk about this stuff. And we just finished recording our episode that will be dropped later tonight. So for our
Awesome.
viewers, we're going to be talking about Bill S-210 instead of C, a C bill. So this is the conservative bill that is.
That came down from the Senate.
Yeah, it actually was written by a senator, and it deals with online controls for adult content. So we get into that and the pros and cons and what we think about that.
Oh, interesting. So I guess you want to save that one for that video. Let the audience go over and check that out.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. Adult. Okay, I'm intrigued now. Now I want to check that one out. Big thanks to Michael in the chat for becoming a member. Thank you so much. And then what else happened today was the Bill C-21 went through. It passed through the Senate, right?
I believe, let me just check real quick. I'm actually on ourcommons.ca. I believe you're correct. I believe it passed its final reading in the Senate. And that means it goes to receive a royal assent. That's correct. Now, there's going to take some time between it passing the Senate and between it receiving royal assent. And then it goes into the draft phase where it's kind of in limbo for a little while they figure out how exactly to implement the bill. But yes, you are correct. It did pass third reading today.
Which is a sad day for gun owners. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who that's not going to be too long.
Well, yeah, anyone who has a pistol that wants to be able to pass it on to their next of kin. This is crazy. That's crazy that like a piece of property you won't be able to give it. It's not just that they're stopping anyone from buying new pistols. Like even transferring from person to person is not going to be legal in Canada anymore.
Yeah, and it's solving the wrong problem. So I've had conversations with colleagues and friends of mine. I think I've said on our channel, I don't own any guns. I don't plan to own any guns, but
we don't live in a place where we need to at this time.
I do have a colleague and a friend that does have guns and is a very strong supporter of guns. And in this conversation, we got into different opinions. I said, well, I don't understand why people have them. I said, I don't necessarily want to take them away, but I just don't understand why some people have them. It's just not, kind of not understanding why some people like volleyball and some people don't. It's a hobby for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And where the discussion should go, and which is it didn't go on C-21, is what does the data actually tell us? If the data actually told us that there was an increase in deaths, and it was due to a specific type of firearm increasing in prevalence in Canada, then I would say, sure, start talking about that and see where that discussion goes. But that's not what the data says here at all. The data has nothing to do with it. And the problem that the Liberals are going to be facing, especially when it comes to Canadians and Canadian gun owners, is this specific fact. How is it that you have increased gun control, but violent crime has increased by over 32% across Canada? How do you correlate that, Justin Trudeau? Because that means that your gun legislation has had literally zero effect on this. I'm not going to say it has had the opposite effect, because we all know the increase in violent crime is primarily to do with his bail reform that he's actually put through, and that the majority of violent crimes are being committed by these perpetrators that are caught and then released, and then they literally commit a crime the day that they're released. So, but he has no leg to stand on the fact that he's increased gun control in this country, yet violent crime has increased. That's the problem he has.
Well, there was in Australia when they did the big, massive gun buyback, there was a new phenomena that started happening right away, and that was home invasions, because would-be crooks, they figured, well, why even bother now? They're not even going to be armed, so I could go in there armed and take all the people's stuff from their home, and that was a thing that happened. And I'm wondering if we might start seeing stuff like that happening here in Canada.
I don't know. It's possible, but I know growing up, I didn't know a lot of families that actually had guns in my area, and we were in a rural area. It really all depends. Now, Fox and I are fine because I have a nice sword collection. So if anyone comes into our house, they're going to find out about that collection.
Okay,
so come on in, boys.
Fair enough.
It's more painful than a gun, I would argue. So anyway, but it will be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to get Rod Giltaka back on to talk about that, because that's unbelievable. A couple of super chats here. I'm just gonna hit up real quick, and I just lost one of them. Sorry, Kathy Sharp with a $2 super chat says Quebec performed the worst by percentage. LOL. Talking about the petition. They had a breakdown of how many signatures per province, and I guess per capita, because it doesn't show it in per capita, but Quebec did the worst per capita.
Yeah, Quebec's not very good. I took a look at none of it.
They weren't having none of it, I guess.
Yeah, they're having none. They're at 0.00. Actually, I guess it's 0.2%. Yeah, 0.2% of their population signed it, which is 93 people, because they only have a population of 36,000.
Right.
Whereas Ontario, I think, was at like a hair under 1%. Of the population of Ontario signed it. So
that's still a lot. Like, just thinking about that, 1% of the population of a big place. That's huge. Newbie 431 says, "Guess I can't pass down any guns to you, Clyde." Well, I'd have to come over to the American side where you're at, and you could pass me all kinds of guns. No problem. I'm a citizen over there as well. Chippy's Outdoors for $20 says, "It's well known all this is to disarm people. We have strict laws already. I personally disapprove of the drama from the Liberals' BS about the topic. Numbers show vast majority are smuggled." Vast majority of these illegal guns that are used in crime, they're smuggled over here. They're calling them, they keep saying this stuff about ghost guns and all this stuff. 3D printed guns. How many have been used in crimes? How many of those have been used in crimes? I can't think of a story. I can't think of a news story where that was the headline. Ghost, 3D printed gun used in a crime.
Well, there's so few. Yes, it's going to increase, but there's so few people that even understand even how to get those or do them. They're so rare, and it's just a scare tactic, right? One thing I wanted to say that is very significant in the numbers actually in that petition, and it is because Ontario is at 132,560. So why is that significant? It's because if you think about Ontario, yes, it has one of the highest populations in Canada, if not the highest. I think it's the highest.
Mm-hmm.
And where is the vast majority of that population concentrated?
GTA.
Where has the Liberal base been? In the GTA.
In the GTA, yeah.
So the fact, if you could essentially look at it this way, that Ontario has the highest amount of people signing this petition, and if most of those people are concentrated around the GTA, if the Liberals actually did have, a lot of support, you should probably see a lot fewer signatures then. But what we're seeing in the polls is there's all of these ridings now in the GTA that are now blue. Like Karina Golds, she's done. Like her riding is blue now.
No way.
Yeah, pretty much the whole Golden Horseshoe is blue.
Yeah, if an election was today, she'd be done. She'd be out.
For someone like that, with because these are like career politicians, what do? Do they just go to another area and try to run there where they think they can win?
Some do. Some will go to provincial, or some will go to municipal. Some will go get consulting jobs.
Well, Jagmeet went all the way out to BC, didn't he?
Where's he from?
Toronto, I think.
Toronto, Brampton, and he
was. Does he have to be a stereo? He's from Brampton. Come on.
That's where he's from. I can't. But
he goes to the other stereotyping. Come on.
Yeah, I guess. But he was I think he was the leader of the Ontario NDP. I know he's an NDP.
He was in NDP. I don't recall what he was though.
And then when he ran for federal, he decided to go all the way up to Burnaby.
And it's just because they know they're going to win, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, brutal. I don't know Burnaby politics because I stay away from the city as much as I can. You know, my school's in South Burnaby. You know, where I went to college. I went to BCIT.
Oh, okay.
And yeah,
I've been to Burnaby for work at one point. Been to Vancouver, and it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Very, very pretty with the mountains, but that was also
well
10 years ago.
Yeah, you go away from the city, and it's real nice. get out of Vancouver. It's real nice. Let me I'll vouch for that one. Go any direction as well. Any direction. You go south, you end up in America, and it's kind of like Vancouver on that side of it, though. Yeah, unreal.
Well, now you have like food trucks are basically drug trucks now, so you know.
It's crazy. Else. Okay, listen. The real estate market is so redonkulous at this point. Like you can't get a townhouse in the town I live in for like less than $4,000 a month if you want to rent, right? They sell.
What's a townhouse?
Yeah, they sell for. They're selling for like 900. Well, I don't know if they're even selling at this point. They might not even be selling, but the last time they were selling, the average townhouse, like 3-bedroom townhouse, is about $1 million. It's crazy. But so I get this. I have a friend who runs a food truck, and he's been doing this business for a while, and he's not loaded. You know, he runs a food truck. You know, it's not even it's seasonal. It doesn't even go all year round. Right, so he's got to do other jobs and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got a permit to be around town. But anyway, there's this agency or whatever that opened up this new area where they want to make a food truck mall. So it's like this land where the food trucks can come and then everybody can walk around.
Isn't that just called a restaurant?
It's like a food court, but for food trucks.
Interesting.
And I just found out today from a friend of mine who's in the know. He found out that what they're renting them for, the little squares on this,
like the plots,
yeah, $4,000 a month.
What?
$4,000 a month. Now my friend told me, he's like, no, it's like $1,000 a year for the permit to run a food truck in this town. And they're selling these little, and it became the joke today where it's like, welcome to British Columbia real estate, where you can rent this business plot, and it's at the easy price of $4,000 a month, and you provide the building.
Right.
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
it's literally like a 4x10 piece of imaginary land that you're sitting on.
Yeah, it's food truck size, right?
Yeah, it's like food
Only
truck.
in
It's like
Canada.
8. It must be like 10 by 20 or something like that.
Like, come on. and someone's serious. Someone has a straight face when they're saying, "Oh yeah, that's $4,000."
But you know, some
$4,000,
people
serious
will
face.
pay it. Some people pay it, and that's the crazy part.
I just don't get it. Like, you could have your food truck, because a lot of the food trucks in town, what they do is they'll go to like the breweries or whatever, and some of them even struck deals with the breweries. Like, can we park out here permanently and just have our food truck? And it works out great for them. It works out great.
Yeah.
And they're doing fantastic. And I don't know what the deals are with these things, but I doubt they're even paying. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're
like there was one
"You're
close
bringing
to us
business
that
to
would
us."
park at the church, and because nobody was at the church, you know, Monday through Saturday, so they would just park at the church.
Oh, that works.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe we should start doing that. I should go lobby the churches in town. There's enough of them. They're like, hey, you should do like food truck day at your church.
Yeah.
We could alternate.
And it would be like and then it would be like $100, and like, or even if that, they do it for free, and give the church a percent of the profits. Off you go.
Yeah, easy peasy.
And it's a nonprofit, so it's a tax write-off.
I don't think it would be for the businesses. I think
if it's
no, because
like
they're donating it.
Yeah, if it's a donation to a nonprofit.
It counts as a donation to a nonprofit if they're donating a percentage of their profits.
I don't know. I'm not an accountant or anything, but
I have an accountant. I stay away from that stuff. Tell me, can I write this off? I don't know. Is it doable?
Just write everything off.
You can't just write everything. I'm just like, check. Just like a receipt with a big old question mark on it. I got Gary Crail with the $2 super chat. No chat, but just the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. But yeah, it's crazy in Canada. I mean, with all the permitting and all this other stuff, and then on top of it, real estate is just getting so crazy. I mean, it's not really a lucrative place for people to want to come and do business. I mean, we gotta make a huge change here because.
Yeah.
And
well, the permits take too long. Everything's too, and because they take too long, they add so much more money to the house because the developers have to spend all of that. You guys are brutal out in BC. The stuff that you guys go through, Ontario is not much better, but it is a little better than BC in terms of that. But
and then the price of lumber. Back in the middle of the pandemic, they were saying that the price of lumber was increasing the price of a house by like $10,000 to $15,000 on average. It's just the lumber.
Yeah.
And well, pre-pandemic, in Home Depot, you'd walk in and you'd buy a 2x4 by 8 stud for $3, $2.97, and I think at peak pandemic we saw it, I think, at like $18 a stud or something like that, and then it dropped afterwards. I think they're
around 6 now.
I'm gonna look it up. Home Depot. Let's see what Home Depot says.
But I have experience of this because I built my studio before the pandemic, right? So I built my studio and I had to buy a bunch of lumber, and yeah, I went to the Home Depot. I know they got crappy wood, but whatever. Sorry, Home Depot, potential sponsor ruined. But so yeah, you go there to get your wobble sticks, right? They're just
your hockey sticks.
Yeah, right. Like this is wobbly, but yeah, they're 2x4s. I do remember when I built my studio, they were around $3 a stick.
Yeah, now they're $3.98 a piece.
Now they're $3.98.
It'll come down even more.
But I remember during the pandemic going in there and seeing them at almost $10. I didn't know they reached $18.
Yeah, over here it was like $18, and then they settled at $12 for a little while, and people were still buying them.
Yeah, my mom kind of cajoled my dad into remodeling one of the rooms in the house. I forget which one, but he was pissed off they had to buy $12 2x4s.
Like I was doing our basement, everything stopped.
These are 2x4x8s. I'm talking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, not the 12s, not no. Just your regular building studs.
Yeah, that's insane. That is insane. Because, like, I mean, building this studio cost a chunk of change, but I wouldn't have been able to do it if I did it during the pandemic. I just wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Well, and I think why the prices were so high here is because there's like a whole bunch of like big box competing builders. So I imagine like the shortage was even more felt where we are.
And so we have the real estate market. Like we just have like building after building going up.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy how many people that I know that are directly like they're employed by this boom in housing. If the real estate market crashed tomorrow, they'd just be like, okay, I guess gotta find another thing to do for a living. There's a lot of people involved in the real estate market.
And that's going to be the interesting thing. If we do have a situation where hundreds of thousands of people start defaulting on their mortgage, the question is what happens, because we still need these houses built for people. So what happens? And I don't have an answer to that.
No, and it's crazy because of the immigration that they're putting forward. Mm-hmm. So it's this weird push and pull. I brought it up a bunch of times. And the audience may be tired of hearing about it, but I can't stop talking about it. This push and pull of like, how is it? Okay, first off, it's a bubble economy. These houses prices are bid up like crazy. I know I want to be big brain like Jagmeet Singh. You know, that's the size of his head. His turban's really thin. He's just got such a big brain in there. He's so smart. You just like, why don't they just make cheap houses? Whoa! Oh, okay. I guess. Oh man, I never thought of that.
If
only I had thought of that.
Right.
Oh, man.
No, Clyde, I just realized that gave me an idea. I have the solution to the affordability crisis. Make everything cheaper.
Let's just. Oh, but this is just as dumb as the concept of, well, let's just raise the minimum wage. You know,
Or we just print more money.
You know, raising the minimum wage puts people out of work, right? You know, you're just
right. Yeah, I love it. I love the people that come with that argument. It's like, well, just pay people a minimum wage. Like, what do you think? Like, companies going to be like, oh, okay, well, I'll be a charity, and I won't. You know, I'll just absorb that cost in my OPEX across my organization, paying tens of millions of dollars more, and I'll just eat that because we're a nice company.
Yeah, we're just good guys, right?
And then the next day, there'll be a press release, entire board fired by shareholders for being charitable to employees for eating cost of minimum wage. And then new board hired, and prices go up for everything because, you know, we actually care about profit. It's just stupid.
My favorite, though, for anyone who says that, I say, I'll in argument, I'll agree with them, and I'll say we should do even more. We should make it $1,000 an hour, because if it's $1,000 an hour, everyone will be rich.
Everyone's rich.
Right? And you're like, no, you can't do that. That'll just crash the economy. But and what, we're just gonna incrementally crash the economy with your idea? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's just we do it slower.
All I want's Band-Aid rip. Come on, baby. $1,000 an hour. Everybody gets it. You know what I mean? Let's just make people rich.
Yeah. Like, it's just, come on.
It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. But yeah, like, it's this weird push and pull in the housing market, because yeah, there's not enough houses for everybody to live in, but they've all been bid up because of this crazy bidding war, bubble frenzy, right? Everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna get rich. I'm just gonna buy a house and flip it. Why would you do that? Oh, because some twins on the television have been doing it for years, and just knock out that load bearing wall. I'm gonna make it open concept, and 50 grand this year. I just made money. You know what I mean? Like, this is
right. I bought Homes on Homes. I know how this works.
Yeah. Oh, man. No joke. This has been the way people have been doing it for more than a decade. And here's the crazy part. 10 years ago, I saw this happening, and I went, I'm not buying in. I'm just going to rent. I'm going to lock in because the rents are going to go through the roof. And I've been doing that. I've been sitting pretty, just waiting and hoping that my landlord doesn't sell.
Do you have rent control in BC the way we do in Ontario?
No, well, I don't think so. Maybe that in certain municipalities have that stuff, but in British Columbia we have the Landlord Tenant Act, which heavily sides on the tenants.
Yeah, it's the same here too, but they're only allowed to raise it like so much percentage,
4%.
And I forget what it is.
4%.
Yeah, I think it's even less than that.
I think
here
it's
in Ontario,
3.5. It's between 3.5 and 4 here.
I think it's if the building is built before a certain date, and I want to say 2017, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, I don't know that.
And then if you're living in a new building, like they can double your rent, and there's nothing.
Well, it wouldn't be a regulation unless we made it complicated, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right. It can't be fair. Why would we want that? Got another super chat from Kathy Sharp here for $5. Hi, Cypher and Fox. I absolutely love your show. Well, thank you so much for the super chat. That's amazing.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. We love our show too.
Yeah, I love your show. That's why I have you on so often. Chris B with another 279 super chat. Hey, Northern Perspective, any new points for the spring election? Okay, well, might as well just get into that instead of griping about the housing market. It's a big deal for me, this housing market thing. You know what? It's a waste of time, is what it is. And this is what really peeves me about this whole thing. 10 years I've been waiting to get into the, like, okay, bubble pop already, so I can move on with my life and buy a house to raise my family in, right? No. We can't have that. We got to prop up the bubble. The liberal government goes, oh my God, we can't let it pop on our watch. We got to preserve everybody's made up wealth, you know? Nobody can lose, you know, because it would have been like, oh, dang, so many people lost about $100,000. That's pretty bad. But now
we've seen it.
Now what they're going to lose
country.
when it crashes now? No, not when it's
the cottage owners are getting screwed.
Yeah, out in like the Muskokas and stuff. Yeah.
But I don't know. In my opinion, like because cottage prices went through the roof when COVID happened because everyone was trying to get away from everything. But again, people were buying these cottages at exorbitant prices. Some of them bought 2 of them.
At that point, I don't feel sorry for you.
I don't feel sorry for them either. Like, like what's wrong with you? But again, like unless you're buying it at a reasonable price at a very low rate, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of sympathy for you, because as soon as CERB happened, everyone who sort of understood interest rates and economics, everyone knew what was coming. As soon as they started printing all that money, we all knew that hyperinflation was just coming.
Well, they called it quantitative easing. You know, the U.S. was doing it, so the Canada had to follow suit because we can't let our dollar appreciate above the U.S. currency too much. So, okay, quantitative easing, we're going to ease ourselves into what? I was like, where's the bubble going? You know, U.S. just had a market crash in the real estate, and we're already speculating it up. But we've got, you know, we had some pretty strict rules in the lending market, and then the Liberals came in 2015. They went, you know, those strict rules. Right. You know, those strict rules. How about we loosen them up? Let's get some room out here.
Let's just rip that out of there.
Oh man, no. And then we're following exactly what happened in the U.S. We're following exactly what. Newbie 431 gifting 10 memberships to the channel. Everybody get in the chat.
Excellent.
Thank Newbie for the gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Newbie. Appreciate it. But yeah, housing market crazy. Trish Prue also with a super chat, $5. Not a cabin, a chalet. Cypher and Fox. It's a chalet.
Yes, we don't buy cabins, we buy chalets.
The list, dude. Oh man, it gets absurd. It gets so absurd. The amount of stuff you guys have been covering, because you dig so deep into this stuff.
It's been exhausting, Clyde. Let me tell you.
I think we're getting at that point where we're just like we're kind of almost burned out and kind of looking forward to the holidays.
Like so we dropped a video.
Why don't you guys do a video every once in a while, like I do? Every once in a while, I'll get kind of burnt out and I'll find something hilarious and I'll just do a video commenting on something funny,
like playing a video game.
Like playing the Alex Jones game.
Great.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was great.
That was fun. But yeah. But, sometimes it's hectic. I do 2 videos a day most days.
Yeah, it's well we do.
You do way more labor intensive videos than I do.
Yeah. Like there was one video we did on. It was just the first of our new series, the $1 billion slush fund, and we dropped it I think 2 days ago, but we'd actually record it like a week and a half to 2 weeks before. Sorry, it was ready to record 2.5 to a couple of weeks before, but it's just everything else kept happening to prevent us from recording that. Right? So
welcome to Canada, like, where
Trudeau,
there's never a dull moment.
Slow down with the corruption. Like, just take a breath.
Yeah, just like
catch up.
Wow, just rest your fingers and don't stick them in anyone's pockets for the next like 24 hours.
Yeah, like just God. Winter is coming. But
yeah.
Anyway,
Gary Krill with gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Oh boy, Gary.
Everybody get in there and thank Gary for those memberships, those beautiful memberships, and enjoy the emoticons. Emojis. Do you call them emoticons or emojis?
Both. I like calling them emoticons because emoji sounds kind of juvenile to me, but
I think technically they're emojis. Emoticons are the ones that you do with like brackets and semicolons and
I
stuff
don't
like
care.
that.
I call them emoticons.
But there is a distinction.
I'm a rebel.
So
I'm nerdy enough to know that.
So emojis originate from Japan.
Yes.
And the reason why they call them G is like a character, like a linguistic character. So like kanji is the same sound or the same meaning. Kanji is like the complicated Chinese characters.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So G is like a form of writing something, and this is the emotion G, the emotion form of writing.
There you go. That's the emoji.
That's where that
there you
comes
go.
from. Now, Chippy's
Everyone, you learned something.
Chippy's Outdoors with a $10 super chat saying, "Glad we pay carbon tax. Snow is staying on the ground now," rolling his eyes. Oh, yeah, the carbon tax. That's the gift that just keeps on giving because people on the left don't even understand it.
No, they don't.
I keep hearing the argument from people on the left that say, well, the average family that makes under 70 grand a year is going to see about $20 to $30 savings a month because of the rebates compared to what they pay in the carbon tax. And my thought immediately is, well, first off, you're making an assumption on how much fuel they have to buy. You don't know. They might have to commute somewhere.
There's so many assumptions.
A bunch of assumptions. But the one thing you completely eliminate is the fact that farmers have to use fuel and truck drivers have to use fuel in order to get your food to you, and then there's refrigeration that takes fuel. There's carbon taxes on that stuff. There's carbon taxes all the way down the supply chain, and that just bids up the prices of the foods. So you're just making shit more expensive. So at the end,
for sure.
At the end of the day, the person who's saving $20 to $30 a month because of the rebate is spending $700 more a month.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like even that the AgriLab's report that came out last week, we did a brief story on it. They said right in their report that it is not profiteering. It was the carbon tax that was a major driver of the increase in foods. And then you still get these people going, oh, these companies like Loblaws and Sobeys are gouging us, and they're not. You can look at their financial statements; they are
we did
public.
a whole video on it, and we deep dived into it. So what ended up happening with the major grocery chains is, in order to expand their profit, what they ended up doing is buying other organizations like Shoppers Drug Mart, and they did that right. Basically, as COVID was coming to an end, because those organizations were really starting to struggle. Who's going in to Shoppers Drug Mart to buy beauty supplies? Who's going in there to buy food? You're not going to be going into there. You're going to be going into Walmart. You're going to be going into the grocery stores, right? So there's not too many snack runs that happened in COVID out to Shoppers Drug Mart, unless that's the only thing near you. So what ended up happening is they purchased these organizations. And some of them that didn't need to, they have their full-on beauty sections in their stores.
Electronic sections, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So they ended up making huge money by increasing the price of the beauty products, of the drug. Well, the drugs are somewhat regulated, but when everyone started going back to school, and it was the return to work, everything like that, everyone went after the cough medicine. Everyone went after all of these drugs that were in the drugstores, and the grocery chains owned them. You can see it in their economic statement. They made bank, and that's where their record profits actually came from. When it comes to the cost of food, yes, the cost of food came up, but the margin of what the grocery stores actually took stayed static. I did
look at the graphs, and it was like flat.
Yeah,
line.
It was the same. So yes, they got more money because the percentage, but
and the other factor that nobody's talking about is the fact that there's more mouths in Canada,
right?
By the tune of like 1 million since the pandemic.
But adding more people, it doesn't mean that more food is going to be bought. Come on, Justin and Jagmeet, like they're not even considering that. So It's ridiculous. So, you know, yes, they're going to be getting more money, but not as a percentage of profit. You know,
no. And of course, when inflation goes up, yeah, they're going to make more money, but that just means that.
But the value of the dollar goes down. So it's
out.
like, what do you want?
Why.
Yeah, like the value of the dollar goes down. So in terms of the value of the money that they're getting, it's actually the same. And this is what people just like, not people, all of us understand this, but Jagmeet and Justin don't want you to understand that.
Well, it's convenient for them to have a scapegoat.
Smooth brain Juggy. I mean, big brain Juggy. I think he's probably got a good idea up his sleeve. He just hasn't pulled it out until the election. You know, I don't know, like, why don't we just tell the farmers to make cheaper potatoes? You know, like, why you keep growing those luxury potatoes? What are you doing?
You can't give all his good ideas away.
What a midwit. It's hilarious. Penny D with a $5 super chat. I like the one South Park and the expression, I want more money. Yeah, want more money. Absolutely. But yeah, Jimmy Dollywall, Jimmy McJuggernuggets. Yeah, he's got a big brain, but it's a smooth one. It's a big pink dome.
But on spring election, so we dropped a video last week or early this week, and we dropped all of our arguments, and you know, so people could see what we thought. Mm-hmm. But to that super chat that came earlier is you know, there anything new? There's one thing that's new, and it's not the fact that Elections Canada is hiring, and I validated with a former MP that they said, yeah, that's a sign. It's not that. It is not the fact that the NDP letter went out telling everyone they're preparing for a spring election. Ironically, it's something that I think everyone thought was bad news, and that's the extension of the pharmacare agreement to March 1st. Because Clyde, this literally lines up with our timeline. So Fox and I are now, to the day, we're going to be narrowing down our prediction as to when the non-confidence vote's going to happen. So because it lines up exactly. So this is what we see is going to happen. So Parliament is...
they come back January 29th.
They come back January 29th. We expect committee to resume meeting sometime in January to continue on with the other investigations like ArriveCan and the $1 billion slush fund and that sort of stuff. So we expect them to meet. The other thing that's starting in January is the public hearings for the inquiry, because that information is going to go into the preliminary report that Justice Hogue releases on February 29th. That's a Thursday. And the deadline for the pharmacare to be in is Friday, March 1st.
Okay.
So if, assuming the pharmacare isn't in on Friday, March 1st, then we expect a non-confidence vote to be called on Monday, March 4th.
Why?
And that's because the preliminary report will, because Jagmeet has said he's not going to call an election until he's confident that there's not going to be any foreign interference. So that report is going to be delivered on the 29th. That will be distributed. The staffers will be able to chew on that over the weekend. The
and he's going to declare that he has confidence.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see him doing that. Shyster.
Come on, make everything cheaper. This is the guy we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. And then there's no way the Liberals are going to put in a pharmacare framework that they want. They want a single-payer pharmacare framework. There's no way it can happen. There's so many impacts to the benefits and insurance and the pharmacare sector that they won't let that happen. There's hundreds of millions of dollars that would be completely taken out.
And many provinces already have a single healthcare system for people who are on disability or for seniors. Here in Ontario, it's called the Trillium Program.
Yeah. So you're taking money out of those programs, and then you're going to put that in the federal money. And then there's all of these companies like Sun Life, Canada Life, that they get paid like tens and hundreds of millions of dollars a year from organizations with drug plans. Well, now they aren't going to get that money anymore, because why would organizations have a drug plan when you're going to have it through the government? So there's going to be lobbyists coming out of the woodwork for this to the Liberals, saying you can't do this. You if you're going to do it, you need to put all these restrictions on it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not what the NDP wants.
It'll put people out of coverage immediately, right?
Yeah, it will. So, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of people lose their jobs if it does go through, because all these people working for insurance companies, they're going to lose their jobs because they don't need adjudicators for drug plans anymore. So there's all of this impact that people aren't seeing, and that's why I don't see it happening.
What is this drug plan? What do they say that they're gonna offer?
They want it to be the same as our healthcare system, where everything is free. Yeah, but everything is quote unquote free.
So everything's free, but you just have no access to it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, great. So instead of getting drugs,
right?
we have a promise of getting drugs and no drugs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
So
special.
And it's not going to happen. I can't see it happening. And it's the ultimate excuse for Jagmeet to say, well, the Liberals didn't give us what we wanted. And I gave them all of this extra time to try and get this through. See, I tried to work with them and they refused to work with us. And
that'll give him an excuse to back out. Well, the deal's already broken, right? As of
it's technically broken.
Well,
it'll be broken in 14 days.
It'll expire, right? The deal.
Yeah, it expires December 31st, technically.
Okay, and then he just doesn't have to renew it. He just doesn't have to talk about it, and then
it gives him an excuse per the supply and confidence agreement to break it, because they didn't fulfill that. So
what's his angle? What does he think he's going to win out of this?
What is he going to win? Well, he's going to win the fact that he's not going to be going into the election with the new ridings. That's the main reason. That's the
big win. Yeah.
That is the reason. And in terms of where they're polling right now, so they're relatively close to the Liberals. So they are looking at seat gains. Last time we saw, I was at like 36. So they're at 25 now. So you're increasing that. And going into an election, it'll probably swing even further to their favor. It's possible that they pass the Liberals, depending on how badly Trudeau ends up doing in the campaign. It's possible that they end up as the official opposition. It's possible.
That would be something to see. I would love to see the Liberals just get buried and be done as a party.
Yeah, I'd love to see them lose party status, which I believe is 12 seats.
It would be funny to see them as behind the block.
What does that mean? Lose party status?
So when you lose party status in the House, and this is in the provincial legislatures as well, you don't necessarily get to ask questions in question period.
Well, you're at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, you're kind of like afforded the opportunity if there's time, but you don't automatically get scheduled questions. You don't get representation in committee either.
That's a big one. You don't get to sit on committee.
So the Green Party's there with Elizabeth May, the only person.
Well, right. And the Independents, yeah. So they're basically rubbing shoulders with Elizabeth May because she doesn't get to sit on committee.
Okay. That's I didn't understand what that meant, to lose party status. We got a super chat from Steve's Hyde for $5 says, they want us to be angry with each other and not pay attention to them. When they knock on my door, I'll ask them if they plan on removing the tax. Yeah.
and then they'll start saying, well, the carbon tax, we have a climate plan. Slam.
Yeah, smash. What's your climate plan? Here's the thing, like the other thing that people who talk about the carbon tax as being this great thing, well, okay, well, tell me what they've done with the carbon tax money so far to change the weather, because that's the plan, right? They're going to change the weather. What have they? What
they
have
haven't.
They done?
They're just paying debt. That's all it's for. It's for paying debt. But the thing is, like, I don't want to say I completely don't believe in climate change, but I'm not like totally convinced either. And then like you get here in Southern Ontario, the last few days it's been really warm. It's been nice and warm. Like I can go walk the dogs in just a nice sweater. and people will point at that, go, oh my God, climate change! It wasn't like this when I was a kid.
It's
like, yeah, but we had some really cold days earlier too.
It's nicer. We're all gonna feel comfortable.
Yeah. But it's also El Nino, right?
Yes.
Which messes with a lot of stuff.
Here's the thing, and this is my main argument to this. It actually doesn't matter whether you believe the climate changing right now is man-made or not. It doesn't matter at all. And this is why it doesn't matter. It's because Canada accounts for 1.6% of the global carbon emissions. When you have the United States, China, and I think India, I think they're top three, and they account for, I think it's like 50% of the world carbon emissions or more.
Well, and that's it. Why are you putting Canadians into poverty over 1.6% carbon emissions?
Well, and show me that Canadians are driving to work less because of the carbon tax. Show me you can demonstrate you can demonstrate they're eating less because of the carbon tax. Show me they're heating their homes less because of the carbon tax.
And some are.
Well, they're not doing it because they're trying to reduce their carbon consumption. What they're doing is they're trying to save on heating so they can feed themselves with their grocery bill. So, but they don't have that data. They've just said, "Oh, we've reduced emissions." No, like this is the problem. This is the big problem, is that if you want to reduce carbon emissions, go and talk to China, who is increasing their carbon footprint per month, what we produce in a year.
By a ton.
So that's your problem. And punishing Canadians by making things more expensive is not the answer. And so then the Liberals will say, well, the Conservatives don't have a climate plan.
They do, though.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. It just doesn't involve putting Canadians into poverty. They want to give a bunch of subsidies to green tech, like nuclear. And how you have the environmental minister, who is a Greenpeace former activist, that doesn't support nuclear?
That's why, because Greenpeace is against nuclear.
Well, because they're idiots.
Well, that's why Patrick Moore left Greenpeace, because he saw them as a bunch of idiots. He was one of the founders, and he was against nuclear testing, like bomb testing in the Pacific.
Yeah, which I think we're all against that.
But they contrived that with nuclear energy. It's not the same. Domestic use of nuclear.
Weapon-grade uranium is completely different.
Well, it's not even the same uranium. It's a different isotope entirely.
Absolutely. So it's just bizarre. And in terms of the type of nuclear, Canada has the cleanest and most efficient and safest nuclear reactors in the world. So why do we not use more of them?
Because it's got bad PR, because people don't like the thought of having a nuclear plant by them.
And they just, whenever they hear nuclear, they go and watch HBO Max and watch Chernobyl, and then they get scared.
Oh yeah, yeah. Apparently,
good show though.
Even the Chernobyl thing. Apparently, there were some untrue facts about all of that stuff that went on. Apparently,
for sure.
A lot of those guys even survived. What was like.
Yeah, the guys that went in the water, they all survived.
They lived,
yeah. And
some of them lived
for decades that they died within a year and all this stuff, right? But
yeah, for sure.
And all the lies about like Fukushima and stuff. Anyway, I got a couple of super chats to get to. Seize the Day for 279 says, "Love the exposing behind the scenes. Keep it up, Canada." Nice. We also have Trish Prue for $2. Burnaby South NDP 43%, Conservative 29%, Liberal 22%. Yeah, some people just they're just not well in the heads, but we can encourage them to come along. We can. Absolutely. Thanks, Trish Prue. We got Jay Blair for $2 says, YouTube Madame Chiang, Parliament of Canada 1943. Again, I'll look into that. Do you know anything about like who owns the Bank of Canada? Apparently, like it was sold at some point.
Hasn't been on our priority list, honestly. So
Isn't it a Crown Corporation?
That's what I was under the assumption.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Crown Corporation.
I know that the
government.
I know the Federal Reserve is a private business. That's not a thing. but that's the United States. That's their central bank, the Canadian central bank. As far as I knew,
Bank of Canada is a crown corporation.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah, owned by the government.
Owned by the government.
Yeah. Can you buy
Yeah,
stocks in a crown corporation? Can you buy a crown corporation?
No, because in order to buy stocks in a corporation, it must be publicly traded.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not publicly traded.
So it's not publicly
Because
traded.
it's a crown corporation.
So I think that answers that. I think that definitely gets. That was quick. All right. Speaking of this, so I wanted to show this clip because. Hold on a second. I've been sharing stuff like this for a while on the socials here. Pop this up here. So this is 1989 to 2017 or something, and here's the Statue of Liberty, same ocean level. You know what I mean? That hasn't changed. We were told that we were going to be underwater by 2050.
It actually looks lower.
It actually looks lower. There is tides.
Maybe tides out.
Tides in or out. But that's the thing. It was supposed to be underwater. There's all these different things. I love this one. It's the climate hysteria. Just look. It's just the tip of the Marxism right there.
I saw that one. It's good.
Here's a clip, because this is an interesting thing, because we talk about how, if the climate was to change, then humans couldn't adapt. We're done, right?
Yep.
So inadvertently, I think this was said on a TV show. Or a YouTube show called Best Ever Food Review Show. I was watching this, and this was them in Australia talking about the Aboriginals and how long they've been there.
Really shocked. I thought I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's good job. I love it. Traditions, that's great. But I like it. That's pretty good, dude. Well done. I'm curious, Andrew was talking about the rock art. How far do those go back?
And a lot of them are over the 45,000 year mark, but some are created during the Ice Age period, and then others made in the last few thousand and last couple of hundred years. As far as we know, about 3,000 generations of our family have lived in this same area. In that time, a lot of things have happened and changed, and like even where we are today, the sea wasn't even here. There was no mangrove, no ocean, none of this stingray. It was 100 kilometers away from where we are now. And as they changed the scenery, they've recorded it as well, and the food that came along with that change and adapted to it.
It's my understanding that seafood like this, pretty much anybody in Australia could go get some snails, could get a stingray. What are the seafood species reserved only for the indigenous people here?
Turtle, for example, is...
Okay, they get into like what the laws are after that, but I had to clip this part because it's straight up saying, yeah, the climate changed a crap ton. A crap ton? And we just kind of like went along with it.
Yeah, we moved. It's like, oh, and the Ice Age comes, we're all screwed. No, we just move.
No,
that's where the Aztecs came from. That's where the all the Mexican civilizations came from. That's where Native Indians came from. Yeah, they came
across the land border. Yeah.
Yeah, we just happen to have more technology now, so we could probably deal with it probably a lot better, in my opinion, if that were the case. If that were
well, and realistically, if this is all as true as they're saying and as severe as they're saying, what is the average Canadian going to be able to do about it? Like things that are going to make the most impact are like power. So where we get our power instead of coal, nuclear, or I don't know. That's the biggest one I can think of. Can you think of anything else?
Honestly, what they should be doing, they should be opening up talks with countries all over the world that are right now burning coal. Talk to them, and don't put them up to nuclear, because they won't have the skill set yet in order to do that. Convert them to natural gas. You will drastically reduce the carbon footprint by replacing coal-fired plants with natural gas. And then, once their economies have adapted to that, then you can start talking about nuclear and the rest of it, because you can't just say, oh, you're on coal, here's nuclear. And
it could take a decade to get even like one facility going.
Right.
Nuclear.
For sure.
It's not like overnight kind of thing.
Exactly. And they absolutely need to figure out a way to work with China to get them to stop putting up coal plants literally every week and put up natural gas plants. That's what they need to do. They will drastically reduce their carbon footprint And just handling that alone, you know, you may hit all your alleged targets for the Paris Accords, like just them.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's something called the Pareto principle. Are you familiar with that?
That 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people.
Yes, but it also applies to when you're attacking problems as well. And
okay.
So, you know, find out what's causing 80% of your issues and focus on that. And if you can eliminate, because usually that's going to be one or two big reasons, right? So if we look at the carbon footprint across the world, your main offenders are China, the US, and India. Like, stop trying to go after these other countries where they're only like 1.6%. Like, the majority of the countries out there are between 1% and 2%. So now, and then people talk about, well, per capita, Canada builds, you know, produces a lot. Yeah, we're really freaking spread out across this country, and we have a lot of snow here.
Yeah,
duh.
It's cold. Yeah.
So,
well, and there's great arguments to say, like, we if we did proper forest management, say we were to cut down more trees and plant more trees, we would actually be net negative.
Exactly.
We would absolutely be net negative and have industry out of it. But it seems like every argument that comes that's a logical argument that actually like produces economic action and all this stuff. It seems like the goal is always it seems like the goal is always to squash the economy. And that's, I don't know, maybe that's a conspiracy theory sounding thing. But here's one thing that makes me laugh is because the narrative is kind of, they're losing the narrative on this one. I've heard the peak oil argument brought up again, and this is being perpetrated by certain people. That, you know, and it's been a thing. I remember decades ago them saying peak oil. There was documentaries that came out. This stuff didn't come true. So I posted this one. Oops. This is on the YouTube communities tab. But so this is all the times that they predicted that we're going to run out of natural resources, i.e. oil. So 1970, 1966, it was all going to be gone in 10 years. 72, oil depleted in 20 years. 77, Department of Energy says oil will be gone in the 1990s. 1980, peak oil is coming in the year 2000. 96, they said peak oil in 2020. And then a few years later, they said, no, it's going to be 2010. It never happened. They keep going with all of this stuff. Now, I put in here, I said, I see the climate alarmism and COVID narrative are collapsing, and they've moved on to peak oil again. How many times would we use this old tired BS? Now, on Twitter, I did put up a tweet. It was, if I can't find it real fast, I'll just paraphrase, but it's right here. How you could be sure that peak oil is BS. Every prediction so far has been wrong, and top billionaire elites wouldn't be putting so much work into banning fossil fuels if we're about to run out of this stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, and here's the other thing. If the people running, like all you have to do, because people complain about capitalism and people complain about the CEOs, all you have to do is assume that they're all correct and there's just these greedy CEOs out there. Let's go with that premise. Fine. Sure. A CEO of Exxon Mobil, they care about making money. Now, do you think that if fossil fuels were going to be running out in 5 years, do you honestly think that they would just be sitting on their hands and doing nothing?
Or investing in tons of capital when they could just be like sipping up the last little bits of it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
What they're going to do, and will have already done 20 years ahead of time, is say, okay, so oil is going to be gone in X amount of time. So our business plan is going to change. And what is it going to change to? Well, they're probably going to be looking at the next fuel source that they need to be heavily investing in order to keep their profits when oil goes away, because they want to keep their money. So if oil was going away, then they would be looking at changing their entire business strategy, and it doesn't change on a dime, as we all know. It would be over the course of a decade or two to get transition off of crude oil and then into something else.
Yeah,
so
it would
whether
happen
it's
naturally.
nuclear, whether it's hydrogen, whatever it is.
Yeah, it would happen naturally in a market where there's a depleting supply of something.
Yeah, like it. But this is the impression that is always given by certain people talking about this, is that one day, you know, the guys at the oil field are being like, "Oh shit, Frank, there's no more. God damn it! Oh, get Jimmy on the phone. Get Jimmy on the phone. Oh shit! Hey, boys, get the president in here because all the boys down in the oil fields, there's no more oil.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we didn't know that was coming.
Because they're all dummies.
I guess we're
right?
going to be declaring bankrupt. Like, it's not going to happen like that. It is not going to happen like that.
No.
They're going to have a complete business plan, and they're going to be transitioning out of it.
I love how the predisposition of thought about people who work in the oil industry are that they're dummies. You know, these people who pull black stuff out of the ground and somehow figure out how to separate it and make it so it's useful items, turn some of it into cell phones and turn some of it into like fuel that moves machinery that keeps everything going. But they're dummies. You know, they're dummies.
Yeah, they're so yeah, like, and that's the thing. You also have to assume that in each of these industries there's really smart people, and you know there's really smart people because if there wasn't, then they wouldn't be making billions of dollars.
That's right. That's right.
So
absolutely.
And that's if you accept their assumption that these are just greedy CEOs.
Except for Uncle Jed. You know, Uncle Jed, he just, you know, he was shooting at some food. And,
well, yeah.
And up from the ground came a bubbling crude.
Apparently, the oil was like 3 inches below.
Right? that was a very shallow well. Super chats here. Jay Blair with $5 says, Bank of Canada joined the Bank of International Settles with Pierre Trudeau. BOC started as public and 1928. Adnan Sackley 8217 is correct. Please verify. So yeah, I took down some of that info earlier. I'll look into it. It sounds like a deep dive for another night, that sort of thing. Michael McLean with a $20 super chat. Bought gas from First Nations gas station tonight. Clerk kindly let me use his status card number. So gas was $1.68 a liter. Gave me, so $40 gave me about $45, $45.58 worth of gas. No matter status, that's the cheapest gas I've bought in Victoria in a year. Yeah, I was looking at the price of fuel here the other day. It was, what was it, $1.70 something a liter? It's crazy. Somehow it hit 99 cents in Alberta.
99.
Somebody on one of my local Facebook groups posted that one of the gas stations in the area was at like $1.25. And that's, I think, the cheapest we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah,
it really
is.
It's
been
crazy.
Between like $1.38 and $1.50, and like across most places in Ontario, I think, except Northern Ontario. So,
Michael, member for 7 months, says, just wondering if you think it would be still, if it still be glamping if you live in the $2,800 tent year round. So it's like glorious camping. Is that what glamping is?
I think it's glamorous camping. Yeah.
Glamorous, glorious. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's glamorous camp. It's basically, you know, you camp in those domes, like those like outdoor domes that you see at these places. Yeah, that's glamping.
So Mr. Demented 669 for $5 says, water, air, oil cycle, why we never run out. I've heard this before, that the whole concept of calling it fossil fuel is a misnomer, because
I've heard that too recently.
It in fact is a type of a renewable resource. I don't know at what point you would get to the point where it's like you're consuming more of it than you it replenishes naturally. But I mean, this is what's being suggested, is that it's going to run out, but it's been predicted this. They've been predicting this for decades. Just like the prediction, the Malthusian prediction that we're going to have too many bodies on the planet. But every time we get close to that, then it's like, oh, turns out there's a bunch of, because there's so many people, there's more smart people too. And those people, they figured out how to make do, you know?
And wasn't Musk, I think Musk was saying that we're going to max out, I think he thought was something like 11 billion.
13,
and then there's
I think is what I
there's
heard.
going to be a population crash.
Well, there is a population.
We're having a crash in the West already right now.
Depopulation bomb. Yeah.
Like North America, the population would be decreasing if not for immigration.
But I mean, look at our societal attitudes towards having children and starting a family. It's all, no, you must go get a job, you must have a career, you know.
The average Western family is something at like 1 or 2 kids. Like it's barely replenishing. And that's not like immigrant families coming in. That's just like people that have settled in the West for generations. They're not having kids.
Yeah, we're not talking particular races. We're just talking particular demographics, like wealth status.
Like, westernized people. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what background you are. If you've been here a few generations, like those family units are having less kids.
Well, it was pretty common. Like the first settlers in Canada were having families of like 12 to 15 children. Like that was normal.
You had to make the work.
Well,
you had to make the work.
Having kids on a farm or on a plantation, like on a homestead, it was an asset. It was extra helpers. Having kids in a city, they're kind of like expensive pets sometimes.
Well, yeah, like imagine,
I got 2 of them. I love my pets. No, they're great. But yeah, no. So I see it as like one of these things, a bit like environmentalism. You know, environmentalism is a bougie thing. It really is. People who are burning dung to stay alive don't care about the environment. They just don't.
Right.
And it's when we're doing okay, then we're like, oh wow, this place is a dump. Let's clean it up, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for reproductive strategies. Like I think it's interesting because there's like the R and the Y type productive strategies in nature. The 2 strategies, one is the rear small amounts of young, and then there's the other one is just make a bunch of them and hope some of them make it. Yeah, and I think humans, we have both types of reproductive strategy, but it depends on our economic circumstances.
Well, yeah, like if you think back, like people would, like, it wasn't abnormal to have 12, 13 kids.
Yeah, my grandfather was one of 13.
Yeah,
but they lived on a farm, right?
My grandparents, they had 11. So that's just how it was.
But think of it, how many people, Clyde, in your life do you know that are like, well, we can't have kids because it's too expensive?
I know a lot of people.
Having kids is become a luxury item, and that's not right.
No, it's not right. We need to make babies.
Yeah.
Well, and the family unit has been so destroyed by this ideology. You know, the concept of being a mom has been it's disgusting, actually. Like feminism has taken the stance, the radical feminism has taken the stance that if you're a stay-at-home mom, you are hurting women.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, it is.
It's terrible.
And you know, because I am a stay-at-home mom, I've never ever had men say anything negative to me about it. It's always women, and it's always like, so when are you going back to work? You know, your kid is X years old. Why aren't you working yet? Because I don't want to.
It's like, how about why don't you mind your own
my
business?
Family.
Yeah, how about that? And you know what? If moms want to go to work, go ahead, no problem.
But don't be
demonizing the people that want to stay home.
There is pushback. Like, so there is like, I'll push back a little bit because there is stuff like it comes on both sides. Because I saw a recent video from Paul Joseph Watson where he pointed out how this guy's like, I want a trad girl, you know, in some dating app.
Yeah.
And the girl was like, yeah, okay, I'm down. I'll stay home. I'll, you know, take care of me, and I'll, you know, do all this.
I'll live the trad wife.
Yeah, totally do that. And then he's like, wait a second, so you want me to pay for everything? What are you, just some gold digger? Like, wait, what? That's
well, then you
the
don't know
deal,
what you're
man.
asking for at the store, buddy.
That's the
Like,
deal. Yeah, that's
that
the
is
deal.
the deal.
You don't get the trad wife and then also get a woman that like earns, you don't get that dual income.
But here's the thing. Here's the next question. Who can afford to have one parent stay home all the time now? There's not many. That's the other problem.
Well, you could have a dual income.
Not if someone's staying home and not doing anything.
Well, yeah.
It's not that you're not doing anything. Excuse me.
Get a second job, man. I mean,
well, you mean like, yeah.
I do that. I do that. I have 2 full-time jobs.
my point is that in the old days, you would have one parent, typically dad. He would have his 9-to-5 job. He would go. He would pay for everything. But then, and mom wouldn't. It's not like she was sitting home on her ass.
No.
Even when the kids were at school, she was cooking. She was canning. She was meal prepping. She was doing all of the stuff that saved money around the house and made sure the house was clean. Like that. That's a full-time job. You just don't get a direct paycheck from somebody to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's the issue. Now, not many people can actually have someone with a 9-to-5 and have the other parent stay home because it's too expensive.
But also commercialism gets in the way. Like, I mean, you and I haven't been on a flight since our honeymoon, right? Like,
yeah, because we make good decisions.
And that was a very long time ago, right? So you don't.
We don't go on vacation.
You know, I haven't bought clothes. Some of the clothes in my closet clutters, like from high school. Not kidding, like 20 years ago. And like it's because I don't need it. What do I need fancy clothes for?
Fox always gives me crap because I never buy
Fox is in good
clothes
shape.
for myself.
That was a humble brag if I ever heard one.
Sorry. What I mean,
she could have been huge.
I still got my high school bod.
No, well, I'm not replacing my wardrobe every month, is what I mean.
Okay.
Like, you know, like you have to forget the commercialism if that's the kind of lifestyle that you want. Is one parent home and one parent working.
No, absolutely. No, I'm messing with you, but
I know.
No, I totally agree.
And you shouldn't have to have 2 full-time jobs for one parent to stay home. You shouldn't have to, but we do. It's the reality. Yeah. But you should.
I have 2 full-time jobs because I live in British Columbia.
Well, yeah.
And I don't want to put my kids through the things they want to do. You know, like
well, exactly.
Yeah.
You got and dance. You got violin. You got piano, got gymnastics. Like, if my kids are interested in something other than hockey, sorry, hockey enthusiasts out
it's
there.
Not happening.
Hockey's expensive.
Hockey's bougie. It's a rich people's thing anymore. If you're into soccer, here's a ball.
Well, and like we do the same thing. Like YouTube has effectively become a second full-time job, but you know, we use that to pay for our son's therapy. Like, it's just, you know, that's what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's hundreds of thousands of Canadians, millions of Canadians out there. They're just doing what they have to do. But you know, when did it not become living anymore and it just became surviving? Like, that's not right.
Yeah, it's not right. And what sucks is when you have generations that ended up going through the same thing. Like, I'm in way better shape than like our household is than when I was growing up. And when I was growing up, it's not that, you know, my parents didn't provide, but there was 8 of us, you know.
Oh, wow.
You know, there was 8 kids in that house, and, you know, my dad working, my mom staying home and taking care of the kids. You know, there was times where it was tough. And, you know, we're talking through the 80s during all the economic downturns of the last Trudeau because of that guy. And and I know what it's like to be like, you know, Mom, I'm hungry. Yeah, well, we're gonna have to wait until dinner because I've got enough to prepare, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, my mom was super creative. You know, just find whatever in the drawer. You know, I remember at one time she found like cannelloni noodles, and she's like, "All right," and she put it in a soup. And everyone's like, "What's that?" She's like, "It's log soup, kids." And make a fun thing out of it. You know, that was growing up. It just I feel like, you know, you go through that, and then for the whole cycle to be happening again, I feel like we've been robbed. You know,
Yeah, and I don't understand these people
to produce more, to do better, and we are doing better, but we're still, you know, we're left with, you know, barely just a subsistence level after all that hard work.
Yeah, and I don't understand these people like my parents' generation who went through the first Trudeau and are still so hell-bent on voting for this one.
Yeah, it's like they forgot what happened.
It's like they're untouchable because their house is worth $1.5 million, and you know they've got 3 cottages and God knows what else. You know.
For the record, Fox's parents don't have 3
No,
cottages.
they don't.
I don't feel sorry for you at all, then.
No.
They also don't have 3 chalets. They don't have a cottage or a chalet. So. But
I'm just saying I don't understand these people. It's like they're completely unaffected by the desperation and the poverty that's going on in this country right now, and they are just so hell bent on voting for Trudeau and these asinine policies.
Well, and again, like we always love going back to a clip from Stephen Harper's election campaign where he's talking about Trudeau, and it was his warning. He said Justin Trudeau, he wants to run a deficit budget, and he said my economic training tells me that once you stabilize the economy coming out of a recession, that is not when you run a deficit.
No.
You know, that's when you let the economy kind of simmer and move along. And he said the deficits of Justin Trudeau will not be small. He warned us and nobody listened.
You're right. You're right. That you saying about the, you know, the fact that people forget. It made me think of a quote. Here's this quote. The receptivity of the masses is very limited to their intelligence, is very limited. Their intelligence is small, but their power of forgetting is enormous. In consequence of these facts, all effective propaganda must be limited to a very few points and must harp on these slogans until the last member of the public understands what you want him to understand by your slogan.
And that has changed.
You know who that is.
It never used to be like that.
I know who that is.
It never used to be like that. It didn't used to be like that in the industrial age. Once we entered the information age, and that was like in the 80s and the 90s, then that dramatically changed to that new to match what that quote is saying. And it's because people weren't bombarded with the amount of information that they are today on a day-to-day basis. So recency bias is a really real thing. You know, how many times were you like, oh, you know, I can't remember what I ate for dinner, never mind what happened last week. That's where we're at. Whereas before, it's not that people had better memories, you know, 50 years ago. It's that they had less stuff thrown at them on a day-to-day basis. They didn't have like just information about hockey teams and the economy and politics and climate change and all of this stuff. It was a simpler time. And in some cases, yeah, it may have been a better time because you didn't have all of this stuff that was just stressing you out 24/7.
Well, and not only that, but you know, back then, like back in the 50s, you had, you know, each parent focused on their own role. Like dad would work, mom was at home usually, and then you didn't have like where both parents were working and they had to worry about the kids and all the kids' social activities and how the kids are doing in school and the housework and
then you have parents getting depressed because their kids aren't being well behaved in school because, you know, they don't really have people that are caring for them full time, and they feel like failures as parents, but they're doing what they have to do because they both have to work in order to put food on the table and keep a home now. And in some cases, well, that's not even happening anymore because the amount of people going to the food bank and the amount of people that are living in tents, and it's Canada's crumbling. And Trudeau's sitting there saying, well, like, oh my God, there was a guy in Parliament today, I think it was Vancouverton, and he said, I think Canadians are going to go home. He said this. I think Canadians are going to go home for Christmas, and I think they're going to be happy that our debt to GDP ratio is still one of the lowest in the G7. And I want to throw something at him. Like, That doesn't put food on the table. That doesn't, sign a rent check. That doesn't do anything.
No. And
Like,
how do they even like they get these statistics? Why? Because they just pump more people in?
Well,
our GDP's not good. It's not good.
No, it's not great. It's not great.
And not to mention, like, it should be criminal to add government employees to the GDP. Like, government expenditures.
It should be.
Like, it should not even be in the GDP. It's fraud. It absolutely is fraud. It's like, I liken it to this. My personal finances are not doing so hot right now. So I decided I was going to get a landscaper to come put in a new patio and garden in the backyard. So, and then I'll just add that to my income. Wait a second.
Well, and what they don't talk about,
it's an expenditure.
What they don't talk about is Canada's household debt. So our household debt is at $2.9 trillion, and it grew by 3.2% over the last year.
More than GDP, which is crazy.
Yep.
So, but they don't talk about that. And Canadian household debt is one of the highest in the G20. So,
because people are maxing out credit cards just to get by, to get
to
food,
pay their heat bill, to
pay
their rent.
If you're using your credit card to put an attachment on your home,
that's an investment.
You put a sauna in your sunroom.
Justin, you weren't a home economics teacher. You were a drama teacher.
He was like really bad at any kind of economics. Holy cow!
Did you see that video and the expressions on people's faces? They're like, dude,
what?
What is wrong with you?
Credit card your way through school? Credit card?
Like, I had to do that, and guess what happened? I paid shit tons of interest, Clyde.
Yeah, we didn't finish paying his student loans until we were married.
Brutal.
Yeah, it took me 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years to pay it all off.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I got a trade, so it was a little different. I got some super chats here. UG Ty, I know that name, with a $5 Canadian super chat. Holy cow, it disappeared on me. I'm gonna have to find it. Where are you? Okay, $5 super chat. My favorite Canadians all together. We wanted to have kids to we waited to have kids to work on our careers. Regret it now that our time is very limited, and I feel the same way. My wife and I, we traveled and we did a bunch of stuff, but we waited an extra like almost 10 years from when we got back. Not that long, maybe an extra 5 years, but we waited too long. We should have had kids earlier.
And that's the thing they don't tell you. Like, they tell young women, oh, you can have it all. You can have a career. You can have a family. You can't really. Like, we had our son when I was almost 29, like when he was born. And, I got very sick. He got very sick. It was not a good situation. And that's why we only had one.
Yeah. We have two, God willing, we'll have more, but we're getting on in age, right? That's the reality of it. Penny D with another $2 super chat. Is that true, Clyde? Do you have two full-time jobs? Yes. I do YouTube full-time now, and I work a mechanic job full-time. So the amount of work that goes into doing a YouTube channel, especially when you put out this much content,
it's enormous.
You guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it's and I'm not saying this to gripe or anything like that. I love what I do. And I could realistically probably like even limit the mechanic job more, or if I was to, nickel and dime a little better, I could just drop the mechanic job altogether and work on this and put more stuff out. But I love pulling wrenches. I mean, it's like, I love doing my job. I like doing what I do. So,
well, they say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So,
oh, I work every day.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I work. No. Oh, wow. Yeah.
People do need to know. I don't know if people know how much work goes into it. Fox and I will, we'll frequent some of the Reddit threads sometimes, and the one I spend the most time in because it's curious to me is the NewTubers one. And for everybody that doesn't know, it's basically a forum on Reddit where people that are new to YouTube or that have very low subscriber counts, they go there to ask advice and
get help and
get help and that sort of thing. And there's thousands of people that are in there with 50 subscribers, 70 subscribers. And but one of the themes that I see is it seems that it's a lot of people that think you can just put out a video and then it goes viral and then you're a YouTube star. They don't seem to understand how
and then
much
what, though?
Work goes into it. Well, yeah.
So I've had videos go viral and then it's like, and then what?
Yeah, then it's done. Next.
Yeah.
Right?
Like my way of looking at it is very much like, okay, that's done. It's uploaded. It's out. Next thing, I'm very like on the next thing. I can't sit and linger on a video. I like to go back and try to get through comments, but I'm most of the time just on to the next thing. I need to move on.
Yeah.
You have to keep going.
Yeah, well, I'll do some, and I'll watch it for the first hour. That usually tells me how it's going to do, and then if it doesn't do well, then I'll get into some of the stats on just to see if I can understand. Okay, so what happened there, and how do we improve, going forward? And the good news is, and I've seen these comments on your channel as well, Clyde, is we're still getting comments that, oh, your videos are getting better. Well, that's great, because that's the whole goal, right? You have to keep improving, otherwise people are going to stop watching, because if you slack off and your content drops, why would people watch you?
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, I try to get better all the time with things. One thing I'm working on is I want to try to make my videos a little shorter, because I get rambling sometimes, and then my videos might go into like the 15-minute mark. I want to, my whole point is to be able to bring a story forward, cut to the chase really quick, and then just get people the information they're looking for, and then do it in an entertaining way, like, bring my sense of humor to the table, that kind of thing, but not go too far into like,
I watch your videos for the hat, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I just don't want to pad the videos, you know what I mean? Like, some people are just like, okay, I gotta stretch it out another 2 minutes. I try not to do that. If a video is only worth 5 minutes, it's only worth 5 minutes. Get it done. Get it done. Get it out. That's the thing. I spend a lot of time on thumbnails trying to like just get them right so people feel like clicking the video, but it's it's a battle. It's a battle. I don't really talk much about like the YouTube experience on live streams, but it's funny because we're both in the same thing. But yeah, I think a lot of people that are struggling, they're struggling because they're not just getting stuff out there.
Yeah,
just get it out there. They're more worried about the networking side of things.
Yeah, and they're not listening to their audience, and that's the interesting thing. Like, even like we share obviously a lot of the same audience, but when they view our channels, they turn into a different audience depending on the channel that they're viewing, because you put out, I would say, a different type of content than what we do. Like, we've talked about this before.
The wonks versus dorks,
yeah,
right?
Yorks and wonks and dorks, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to say the wonks and the donks. I don't know why, but anyway. But anyway, so it's they have to understand that like our channel took the direction directly into politics because we listened to the audience. That's, we saw what people gravitated towards, and that's where we went. Anyhow, but we have
I go with my gut all the time. I'll make videos where I'm like, this will probably be really unpopular.
And sometimes those are the ones that people love the most.
Sometimes people are like, why are you doing a video about that? Whatever. I'll just put it out. Because I'd rather do it in a way that is, because I don't want to just put out a video because, I need to get a video out. And, what's the trending topic or whatever. I've been lucky with some of the things because I'm just interested in a thing. I see other things are trending, but I'm like, I want to talk about this. And then later that thing goes trending. And then I'm like,
so you're, let's say, great.
I was ahead of the curve. I wanted to talk about that thing. I was that was what was on my mind, and that's because I use my YouTube channel as a way of like actually decompressing and you know, venting some of my frustrations, and that
Yeah,
it's
I
helpful.
think it's a bonding exercise for the two of us.
It's turned into date night like every
Every
night
day.
actually, because there was
I know, it's dorky.
like before this, we would just like do our own thing, right? And you know, some nights like I would be upstairs, Fox would be downstairs, and you know we were getting creative in terms of, oh, let's do a Lego build night or something like that, and just to have some fun. But now it's just like, okay, well, you know, every night is YouTube date night for us, so it kind of works out.
That's really good, actually. I like that.
So but
got another
Keep the
super
romance
chat.
alive, right?
Got another super chat, $10 from Yutaka Sean Wada. He says, "Hi, hey guys, thanks for being here. Do you know the CP article that had the 3 errors that had to be retracted? The one Pierre mentioned when slaying that reporter. Thank you for your service to humanity." Well, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Do you know what he's referring to, right? So when
I know what he's referring to. It was about the Niagara Bridge incident that they thought was terrorism, but wasn't. I don't know if we ever found the original CP article. I know we had found,
because I looked for
some
it. You guys dig way harder than I do. So, or you guys are just good at it. But just for the rest of the audience that doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. So when the CP Canadian Press reporter threw that comment out, like, don't you think it's irresponsible to call it a terrorist attack in front of it? He was saying reports anyway. So he says, oh, you're from CP. Yeah, didn't you have an article that had three full things you had to retract?
Yeah, I'm gonna contact the Guinness Book of World Records, because that's got to be a world record.
That's funny. But yeah, I never found what article he was actually in reference to. You guys?
No, I don't think we did either.
Well,
We
it's
did
tough
look
because
for
how
it.
many articles does CP put out, right? Like there's just thousands of articles. So
And
it's,
some of
I
their stuff
did
is
look
behind
for
a-
it. I was all over that. I was like
Yeah.
on, you know, every search engine I could find, looking for articles written about them. I don't even know where Pierre got this info.
yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with that particular news story,
No.
because it was breaking. You can find typically on news sites, they have a corrections page where it shows, you know, what articles they've made corrections on. But there's so many, and it's very difficult. Like, was it last week? Was it a year ago? And then we kind of stopped when we said, okay, is this really going to add a lot to the video? Probably not. Let's move on. So
Yeah, I searched for it. People are saying, do you know what CP stands for? Yeah, Canadian Press.
Canadian Press, yeah. The Canadian Press, like they'll also freelance to, you know, many other news organizations. So
Yeah. But anyway, we've been going extra long tonight. This is an extra long stream.
I didn't even notice the time. So
Right? Time flies when we get chatting. Holy cow. But I'm gonna wrap it on up, the chat here. For those that do hang out in the Discord, we might pop in for a little bit there in a little bit to say hey to everybody, see what everybody's doing this beautiful Friday evening. Big thanks to everybody out there. Yutaka saying, I'm going to ask Pierre at the next rally. Yes, please. Yutaka, if you can get back to me on that one. Either send
that'd
me
be interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually curious because I spent time looking for that, and I was like, "Ugh." I spent like a good chunk of my like research budget for that video on looking for that article and didn't
Doesn't
find
it suck
it.
when you don't find what you're looking for?
Yeah,
You're
it
like,
does
"Damn."
suck. It does suck. We got Jiggle. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Gigolo.
Is that Gigolo? Is that how you say Gigolo? Spell it. I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
how you normally spell it, but that's how I'm saying it.
Okay, Gigolo. 2K7 with a $10 super chat. Clyde, off topic, but curious, how long have you been playing piano? I don't think you've ever talked about it before.
We don't talk about the piano.
We don't talk about the piano. So I was a guitar player for a lot of years. since I was really young. When I was young, I actually played the bagpipes in a pipe band. I was the youngest piper in
Always wanted to
Windsor,
learn how to
Ontario.
play bagpipes.
Yeah, I still have my pipes.
I feel like that's one of those instruments you cannot play incorrectly. Like it would be so bad if you did, you know what I mean?
Well, there's a million ways to play it incorrectly. But yeah, so I played the pipes as a kid, and then I picked up the guitar as a teenager because I wanted to get the girls. And I just love music. I'm a music lover. I was blessed with talent to just be able to pick up instruments and give it a go and be able to play. Piano has only been a few years, actually, to be honest. This piano was gifted to me from a friend who had to leave town. He sold his place, and every time we'd hang out, I'd like, oh, I love your piano. It's amazing. Nobody has like a real acoustic piano of these days. You know, that's not a common thing anymore. I had one when I was a kid, and I'd plunk around, and my siblings played piano. So when he got another job and he had to move, and he didn't want to take the piano with him, he said, it's yours, buddy. You just got to get it over to your house.
And that's hard because you got to be careful that they don't like crack the soundboard while they're moving it, right?
Yeah, there's a big old harp inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big thing to get it. And as soon as I got it, I put it in the garage because the wife was like, it's not going in the house. And I go to plunk on it, my only time that I ever had time, and it was after kids went to bed. And the second I plunked on it, my phone would buzz, and it would say, shut up, the kids are sleeping. So I built a studio that's completely soundproof so I could play my piano in it.
And you haven't played it?
Oh, I play it, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm not a performer. I play music because I love it. I have siblings that are performers. This vocal cord is my instrument to perform with. I have the gift of gab, but musical talent, I have it, but I you know, it's for me. It's my personal solace. I love just chilling and playing piano by myself, figure stuff out. So that's
how I play.
Yeah, it's a story.
That's awesome.
That's how it goes. But yeah, anyway, before too many people have more song requests, we're going to end this stream. Thanks, Fox and Cypher, for joining tonight at such short notice and having such a great conversation. I have a great conversation every time I get together with you guys.
Yeah, it could go on, and for those who don't know, sometimes we end up chatting after the stream too, and it goes on for literally, I'm not joking, another 3 hours after the stream ends, and it just, because we love talking. It's always a good time chatting on the stream and off the stream.
Absolutely. So we're gonna sign off for everybody in YouTube land. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, big thanks to everybody who supports the channel, everyone who bought memberships tonight, everyone who gifted memberships tonight, and the super chats. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing, and the support is coming through in great ways. More improvements to the channel, more camera angles, all kinds of things. We're working on all of that stuff. Hopefully in the new year, get working on the in-studio interview space so that I can actually have people come into studio, and we're gonna get going with that. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Thank you all for all of your support, and get over to Northern Perspective if you haven't already, and go subscribe to that channel as well. Keep it all in the neighborhood, and that's how we roll around here. So everybody, as always, keep on trucking.